Paralympic Park, and we zero in on the Rio Olympic Velodrome for day 2 of the Rio Paralympic Games 2016, and this is day 2 of track cycling and the hive of activity, which is the velodrome, for a very interesting session, including a final, the women's B1000 metre time trial. So more medals to be awarded today. Will it be another one for Team Great Britain? They've already won 3.
That is the question. Day 1 on the track was extremely successful for Great Britain, and day 2, well, there are some strong possibilities in both the morning session and the evening session. But as you mentioned, only one medal on offer this morning. We have the women's B1000 metres time trial. We've had 14 competitors in total. Each will be piloted, as this is a vision impaired category. And then coming up after that, we have the qualifying for the men's C1, 2 and 3. They're all in separate divisions of the 3,000 metres individual pursuit. And the medals in those categories will be decided in the second session on day 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
You saw the Brazilian fans there, and they will have plenty to cheer about very early on here on day 2, with Marcia Fanhani the first to go in the women's B1000 metre time trial. As you can see, always plenty happening in the velodrome. All of the teams cordoned off and plenty getting ready for a big day of activity. This first event, the women's B1000 metre time trial, it's just a final straight off, so it is a charge for the medals, and it is 4 laps of the track, but one of the tougher events, known as the kilo. You need plenty of burst from the start, but you need that endurance as well. The lactic acid really builds up.
Well, that's right. The aim this is actually a specialty event for the Paralympic Games, and you need an extremely good start because there's really very little margin for error, and to reach top speed and hold that for the duration. So the individual pursuit is more a speed endurance, when you won't actually reach your maximum heart rate right until the end or close to the end of that race, whereas the time trial, it's a much shorter distance, 1,000 metres, as you said, 4 laps. And the aim is to reach top speed and max out as quickly as possible and hold it there. And I did actually see this morning, when I was out on a morning jog around the park, a number of the athletes just riding their training bikes to the velodrome this morning, rolling the legs over. A great mode of transport. There's no point in catching the buses if you can ride your training bike over and get that warm-up very slowly happening before the session begins. So there we have it, the list of competitors coming up on your screen, as you can see it at the moment. 14 in total, and you have one attempt to get the best time you possibly can. You are allowed 2 attempts if you have a problem with your start, although that is generally decided by the judges as to what the reason is if you have a false start, whether it was rider error or technical error.
So Jessica Gallagher will be competing for Australia to excite those fans, as we see the Brazilians on screen with Marcia Fanhani in this B classification for vision impaired athletes, which means they are piloted. And we see the double world champion and double Commonwealth gold medalist in Sophie Thornhill doing battle as well. We have 14 riders to compete here in the women's B1000 metre time trial.
And the Brazilian pair, well, Marcia Fanhani and her pilot Mariana Ferreira, who you'll see on the screen just preparing to get ready to start to kick off this competition. A little untested at international level. They were a late inclusion in these games. They took the place of the Ukrainian riders, rather. This pair has been working together since 2014. And they have been competing in a couple of world championships in the last few years and had some quite good results for an untested pair. So with the support of the home crowd behind them, who knows what they might be able to pull out this morning.
And as a bit of a guide, the Paralympic record for the 1,000 metres is 108.919. The world record is 105.912. Marcia Fanhani, 7th in Toronto last year in World Championships on the track, is also a road racer, and some of Her best performances were also at Toronto, finishing 7th in both the road race and time trial out on the road.
And we will also see Ferreira competing in the individual pursuit as well as this time trial event and the road race and road time trial as well. So the road racing program begins in the second week of these games. Not the ideal start there, but it is very difficult working in the team to time that start. With the opening of the gate, they've overcome that and now they're settling in.
So a reminder, there are 4 laps of the track here, the 4 laps of 250 metres, and all eyes on the clock. So let's have a look at the early benchmark for 250 metres. It's 25.460.
So they're gaining speed, trying to reach as quickly as they can to that top speed and power on through, coming up to the 2-lap mark of 4. 500-metre mark, let's check in there.
So at the halfway, it's 43.376 as Marcia Van Harney just tries to tuck in behind the pilot, keeping the aerodynamics as high as possible, and now really trying to lift up the ante, even though the fatigue is starting to set in at the 750-metre mark. So the cheers of the crowd, the locals really getting behind Marcia Van Harney as they come around the turn. The final thrust towards the line. One more lunge, 1:22.354, the time for Marcia Van Harney from Brazil.
I do wonder how much that start may have cost them. However, they did quickly regroup, and it does seem that this pair has really enjoyed the experience in front of the home crowd. Certainly the crowd really got behind them for the final 2 laps of that performance.
An average speed of 43.71 kilometres an hour, and the first time posted of day 2 here at the track cycling, 1:22.354 for the 1,000 metres. But not the quickest of starts, just having trouble getting coordinated in the first few strides. And if anything, from the 500 to the 750, they really did up the ante, getting a little bit tired late. But it is so wonderful to see the camaraderie between pilot and athlete. And great to see them first up on the track, the host nation Brazil, and Marcia Van Harney with 1:22.354.
So 14 competitors in total this morning, and we will rip through them pretty quickly. As you can see, a reminder, the world record in this event held by Sophie Thornhill, who'll be competing in position number 13 this afternoon in this race with Helen Scott, her pilot. She set that world record in Mexico in 2014 with a different pilot, Rachel James. So it'll be interesting to see how that pair performs together today. The Paralympic record set 4 years ago. Leslie Johnson from Australia set that. Now we have the Spanish pair.
Yes, this is Josefa Benitez Guzman with Beatriu Gomez Franquet, the pilot. And Josefa, plenty of activity on the cycling road races, including a silver medal in the road race in London 4 years ago, 6th in the individual pursuit over 3,000 metres. But this is a different affair, the 1,000-metre time trial. So keeping in mind the early benchmark is 1:22.354.
Much cleaner start there for this pair. They were 6th in this event in the 3,000 metres individual pursuit in London 4 years ago. And as we mentioned, good road cycling pair indeed. Benitez is 47 years of age. As we get an early benchmark here,
Hitting the line then with the opening 250 metres.
Yep, so quicker, around the 23-second mark.
Inside the time then of the
And you can see the exertion there already. They are really trying to reach top speed as quickly as possible, powering through. It's such a powerful event, this one.
Made her debut on the international circuit in 2011, Josepha, and loves all sorts of sports, including watching and playing basketball. But this is down to business now as they reach the bell, and well and truly under the time of the Brazilians, looking to set their own benchmark with still 12 combinations to follow after this.
Well, they are looking great as they round onto the final straight of this final lap, lap 4. They've hit the line at 1:15.382. So taking the lead at this very early stage in the competition, 47.756 kilometres an hour.
So they'll be happy with that.
And on the back of the tandem,
it was 47.756 kilometres an hour, as you mentioned, and really did increase the tempo between the 500 and the 750 metre mark. They increased their lead over the Brazilians from 3 seconds to 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was an impressive ride because really they did not appear to get fatigued at all. If anything, became stronger and stronger, and we saw the comparison with the previous pair. They built that lead throughout each lap, first going from 1.7 seconds to eventually more than 6 seconds bettering the previous riders.
A real concerted effort from the start there. Ventura Gomez, Frank Ware, the pilot, really pushing in the first few moments to get that team underway. As we move on to our Polish athlete in Iwona Podkreślna, and piloted by Alexandra Teklow. And Iwona was 5th in the individual pursuit and 6th in this event at the World Championships last year, but also gold medalist in the road race and time trials at World Championship level. So it's going to be a busy Paralympic cycling program for Iwona, but probably her best chances will be on the road. But what can she post here, remembering after 2 combinations, 1:15.382 is the time to beat for the 1,000 metres.
Off to a very solid start. Well, they are attacking this event, and look at them go, sitting just on the red sprinters line, which is considered the optimum track around the velodrome. So it looks as though they could be riding themselves into top position at this early stage of the women's B 1,000 metres time trial.
28 years of age, Iwona Podkreślna from Poland, and you can see really putting in the hard yards as the bell sounds. So it really is a key to get to that 750 metres as hard as you can, and then try and hold on for the final lap. About 2 seconds under, just under that mark. So this is going to be an excellent time, you feel. At the finish, 1:13.411, so they're really ramping it up, and that's an average speed of just over 49 kilometres an hour.
They'll be very happy with that ride, of course, taking the lead position in this early stage of the competition. Still, though, a little off the Paralympic and world record marks, but it may be enough to ride them into a medal position.
Yes, they give themselves a fighting chance there with 1:13.411. Here was the start. Pretty clean.
It was a good start, actually. They'll be pleased with that. Drifting a little higher on the velodrome.
He's trying to leave everything on the velodrome there. Iwona Podkreślna, piloted by Alexandra Teklow. So Team Poland would be pretty happy with that. We see in this field of 14, we have 2 combinations from Greece, and the first of them about to appear, our 4th combination up here at the Velodromo Olimpico de Rio.
And our Dutch riders will round out the competition in 14th position. Had some really good support at the Velodrome from the Dutch crowd, and they did perform particularly well, the riders, on day 1 of the track cycling competition. We'll see whether they can better that performance today with a gold or a silver medal.
Yes, the Dutch contributing to their medal tally with a couple of bronze and a silver on the track on day 1. Here is the familiar blue of Greece. And this combination of Paraskevi Kansa and Vasiliki Utsari. Vasiliki Kansa also is going to have a busy time competing on the road and on the track here at the 2016 Paralympic Games. On the track in particular, top 10 finish in the individual pursuit and also the tandem sprints at the World Championships this year. In the time trial in this particular event, a top 15 finish. So this is going to be an improvement at the Paralympics 2016, whatever she is able to put in, but looking to rattle the cage of some of the earlier times.
Clean start there. You can see the coach willing his riders on, powering off. Let's get an early look. And you can see there the little wobble of the bike around the corner, how responsive these bikes are. And while you're still out of the saddle, it's actually a very, very difficult thing to do. But now our pilot, Zali, has taken her saddle and a little slower on the first lap there.
So really trying hard here, Paraskevi Kansa. You can see every ounce of energy being put into her ride, coming into the home straight at the halfway mark at the 500 metres, 45.213, which is just under 6 seconds off the pace at this stage.
So Kansa tucking in behind there, trying to assume as aerodynamic a position as possible, and you can see gritting the teeth, the pilot there with Zali leading the charge, and Kansa tucking behind, and the little C curve in the back.
With Zali, a picture of concentration, just trying to hold that line as they come down towards the finish line. 123.748, which is 42.986 kilometres an hour from the pairing from Greece, Paraskevi Kansa and Vasiliki Utsari in the pilot's seat. And you can see Kansa has just put every ounce into that, but a busy campaign for her, competing in 4 events here at the 2016 Rio Paralympic Games.
And look, they'll be pleased to get that first event away, because when you have a schedule of 4 events, you're looking forward to 2 more road events next week, after 2 events in week 1 of the first 4 days of the Paralympic competition. Good to shake out those nerves. That time will pop them in 4th position for now of the 4 riders, or the 4 competitors that have gone through in this session 1 on day 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
So with 10 combinations still to come, it's going to get close and very exciting as we keep a very close eye on that clock. And as we've learned already at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games on day 1, you can win a medal by the slimmest margin, with one of the bronze medals on day 1 taken by 0.004 of a second.
There really is no margin of error. And now we have another Polish team stepping up today. Anna Dzieciakowska being piloted by Natalia Matiko.
The team of Poland, the pilot is Natalia Mori.
Yes, Anna 7th in the tandem sprint at the World Championships this year and competed in the London Paralympic Games in athletics and finished in 6th place in the 400 metres and also competed in the 100 metre sprint for a top 15 finish there.
Dzieciakowska, 22 years of age. She's made the switch, as you just mentioned, from athletics to paracycling, so an important time now for her, kicking off a busy cycling schedule at these games. Drifting above the red sprinters line. We have seen some of the cyclists drifting lower in the velodrome. They've recovered well. Staying out of the saddle for the first half of the lap. And in unison there, taking a seat and settling into power on. This really is an all-out sprint, reaching maximum effort, just slightly off the pace, but can they recover themselves over the next 3 laps?
Yes, obviously a real tactic to start this kilo, the 1,000-metre sprint in fast fashion, out of the saddle for the first 250 metres, and they're just under a second off the pace here. So they really have to push between the 5 and the 750 metres. An important part where you can try and get as much time off that clock. So it's 55.995, the time to beat. They're just over a second off the pace, and now this is where it starts to hurt, the final 250.
As they're making their way into the final straight, and let's keep an eye on the clock there. They've got to beat 1:13.411. They're going to be just outside that, but they are in second position. 1:14.889 was the time there by the Polish team.
Yes, on the leaderboard at the moment, it's Poland first and second. The earlier combination of Ivona Podkosielna and Alexandra Teklov of 1:13.411, and this time Anna Dzieciakowska and also Natalia Matiko 1:14.889. But they really wanted to keep the pace right on from the start, and that's what they did.
So the team just winding down there, warming down after the exertion of that. So a quick check, as you mentioned, of the leaderboard. It's Poland 1-2, followed by Spain, Brazil, and then Greece. And we still have 9 competitors to ride in session 1 on day 2 of the track cycling of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
So we now draw your attention to the Irish combination of Katie George Dunleavy and Evelyn McChrystal.
They were 7th in this event 4 years ago in London, so we'll be looking to better that position.
Yes, Katie would be hoping for a medal of one colour, at least, after finishing in 7th in this event, 5th in the individual pursuit on the track, but also some very good road results 4 years ago with a couple of 5ths. So getting close, and plenty of excellent results on the road in World Championships as well. So hoping for a medal, and we'll have a busy campaign, which isn't unusual for these riders, also competing in 4 events at the Paralympic Games in 2016.
Katie George Dunleavy is being piloted by Evelyn McChrystal. Final chat to each other. strength it requires to get out of those starting blocks as quick as possible. On McChrystal's face, the grimace, staying out of the saddle again, probably for the first half of the first lap. They've taken a seat, working together well, and already it's been a quick start for the Irish pair.
So let's have a look after the first lap. Time to beat 23.082, and they're underneath of that just 22.989. But as we work through the field, you get the impression these times are going to be slender, oh so slender, as they come around into the home straight to complete the second lap for halfway, 39.044. And if any event is going to test an injury, Katie Dunleavy injured her ankle last year and was on crutches for a month. So this is going to be a tough test now, the final 250 metres or so as they get the Paralympic bell.
It is indeed the 34-year-old. Look, they are looking very sharp, this Irish outfit. The sixth competitors here of this 14 competing in the time trial on session 1. Time to beat 1:13.411, and they're going to come in under that 1:12.332. So holding first position at this stage of the competition.
Yeah, sustained speed right from the start there with 49.7 kilometres an hour to almost up to the 50 kilometre an hour mark for Katie Dunleavy and Evelyn McChrystal.
Show your appreciation for Evelyn McChrystal and Katie Dunleavy.
Riding a tandem bike that's in their national colours. See, they got away to a good start there, and it's just so crucial in these shorter events because it can come down to such a slim margin.
Yes, they kept their line well, the consistent ride it was, and a pat of appreciation to Katie Dunleavy, a job well done. So we work our way through towards the halfway mark of this field of 14, which gives us some sort of an idea of who'll be jostling for medals as we work down the lists. But we come to the New Zealanders now. Amanda Cameron, piloted by Hannah Van Kampen, and 28 years of age, Amanda Cameron, and in this particular event, the 1,000 metre time trial, top 10 finish this year at Montechiari in the World Championships. Also a road racer, but has been concentrating on the track of late, with a 5th in the individual pursuit as well at the World Championships.
Most of the competitors in this session this morning will compete against each other. It does seem the majority are competing in 4 events, so 2 track and 2 road events in the cycling program at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, as the New Zealand team prepare to mount their tandem cycle.
Amanda left her full-time job. She was an architectural technician in Wellington in New Zealand, lovely part of the world, and has been performing or training at the High Performance Centre for New Zealand athletes. So a lot has gone into this campaign, and I'm sure plenty will go into this 1,000 metre ride. Amanda Cameron from New Zealand.
Amanda Cameron took up paracycling in 2014 on the road. As a relative newcomer to track cycling. First major event would have been the World Championships in Montechiari earlier this year. Solid start from the New Zealand pair. Looked very good coming out of the blocks. So we'll update you. It does look as though they've had an extremely good start, but we'll update you at the completion of the first lap. That will give us a firm indication of how they're going. So they are under the top time at the moment.
Yes, it was the Irish combination of Dunleavy and McChrystal at 22.989, so they need to try and nudge 39.044 here for the 500 metres, and they're now starting to lift it because they're inside.
This is the fastest ride we have seen so far. 38.934 through the 500.
So you can see really putting in now Amanda Cameron. crucial part, 500 of the 750 and underneath by 0.349. So they really are continuing to up the ante, and you'd expect this is going to be a very good time for the New Zealanders.
And they know to be in the hunt for a medal, they need to be posting the fastest time from here on, because we've got some very strong competitors to come. They need to come in under 112, and they've done it. 1:11.737. A great ride, nudging over 50 kilometres an hour.
So a terrific performance, and they will be very happy with that. But we have some very strong combinations to follow. So Amanda, who finished 9th in the time trial at the World Championships in Motokiari, you think it's going to be a better result here at 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio. That is going to be a satisfying result for Amanda Cameron.
And still relatively untested in international competition with the track cycling for Amanda Cameron. She is only 28 years of age, and we do know that in endurance and how athletes can peak well into their 30s. So we could well be seeing something, the beginning of quite a bright career for Amanda Cameron in the track cycling program.
She leads 1:11.737 with still 7 combinations to come. Katie Dunleavy from Ireland in 2nd place, and it's Ivona Podskielna from Poland in 3rd.
It's a difficult time now for the athletes in the competition, waiting and waiting to see what happens with the following competitors, where your effort will sit amongst the final standings. So we look to another Greek combination, ready to take to the velodrome.
Yes. Look at determination and concentration on the face of Anamantia Chelkiaki, and also Agniro Malaki, the pilot. And this is an important competition for Chelkiaki, the 29-year-old. Didn't finish in London 4 years ago in this time trial B classification. Finished 6th in the road race, but also has competed in the tandem sprint as well in Motokiari at the World Championships. Finished 5th there, so in good form leading into this event.
And she did actually finish 8th in the time trial in the track event, but that was the DNF on the cycling road for the time trial. They'll be looking to better that result here.
Works as a nurse away from the track.
29 years of age.
Yes, her partner 24 years of age, Agniro Malaki, and they're ready to go.
Deca.
Yeah, not too bad actually from the Greek pair. Slightly drifting down, but we do see that because it is such a difficult thing to do, having 2 riders working together to time that release of the gate, and they have gotten off to a very good start there, almost a second in front of the fastest time at the early 250, at the early mark. Almost a full second at the 250 mark. Can they build on this?
Yes, well, earlier the Greek pair of Kansa and Pasali clocked 1:23.748. This will be better indeed as they come through the halfway mark. Is it going to be the benchmark for the entire competition? It will be. So going very well here, Chelkiaki and Malaki.
So just dropping their advantage just a little. See how they can finish this final lap. I'm concerned they may have slipped back a little. Yes, they have. So it was a good start, but can they pick it up in this final lap? Let's have a look now.
Yes, they dropped to half a second there, didn't they, between the 500 and the 750. So can they hold on? This is where it gets really tough. 1:11.737 to beat. 1:13.431 is now the fourth fastest time for the competition.
A solid ride from this pair. They did get off to it was an excellent start, particularly the first half of the first lap. They looked as though they could build, and at the end of the first lap they were about a second in front, however dropped off in the remaining 3 laps. It's a difficult distance, this 1,000 metres, to maintain that absolute maximum effort. Racing for just over a minute. So the Greek pair slipping into 4th position, out of medal contention, but they still do have another 3 events on the road, and 2 events on the road, 1 event in the track cycling to come. As I said earlier, always good to get that first event out of the way. Blow out the nerves as we see the pair from Belgium preparing to make their effort.
As we get ready now to welcome heat number 9 onto the track.
Yes, next out is Griet Huet and also Anneleen Monsieur from Belgium.
Please welcome the team of
And
Belgium.
Griet competing on the track in recent times and finishing in the top 10 with a 6th place in the individual pursuit and 7th in the time trial. Will also be competing on the road here in the road race and has had a few issues lately with a shoulder injury only in the last couple of months. So this is going to be a great way to test out how that injury is going. That was in a World Cup event in Spain. She injured her shoulder only some 3 months ago.
Well, that's a great effort to come back from a major injury. Such a disruption to your training program. 38 years of age. Only began paracycling in 2015, so let's see how this pair can work together here.
Yes, both 38 years of age. Pilot as well, Anneleen Monsieur, and they're away in this 9th heat of the women's B 1,000 metre time trial. So the time to beat for the first half a lap is 14.588. Has the start, they're half a second behind.
But can they build on that and quicken their pace to ride into medal contention? 0.731 off the pace after 1 lap.
This will be interesting to see how the endurance levels are going for Griet. Not losing too much there in that last half a lap. 46.821 the time to beat as they reach the 6:25 mark. So she's holding on here. Still under a second off the pace, but they're holding that.
Will this ride be enough to put them into medal contention? Looks like they're having a strong final lap. They've managed to nip that deficit down just a little as they round onto the final straight. Just over half a second in it. 1:12.402.
Well, that was a really gritty ride because they were just nudging around the second mark off the pace, but they've got it back to about 0.6, the gap between themselves and the leading combination. So, if anything, improving on their time in the last lap. So that was a brave ride by Griet Huet, 1:12.402 for the Belgium combination.
Well, the start in this discipline is absolutely vital. You need to get out of that starting gate very fast, but keep the power on all the way into the second phase and just give yourselves
plenty of responsibility and concentration for the pilot, Anneleen Monsieur. Terrific shot of her, and you can see that Griet has put everything into that. A few big, deep breaths.
We've just seen in 1:12.4
but that was impressive.
Still 5 competitors to round out this competition. It is a medal competition, as we've mentioned. You only get one chance. So next we have Japan. Yuri Kanuma is going to be piloted by Mai Tanaka. And they also will be competing across 4 events at this year's Paralympic Games. They've had some success on the road in the recent international championships over the last few years, and at the Asian Paralympic Para Games in Korea in 2014 they did win this time trial event. In Montechiari for the 3,000 metres individual pursuit they managed to pick up a silver medal.
Yes, always strong form lines, the Asian Games, and that was in Incheon in Korea, in the time trial. So Yuri Kanuma really is a specialist time trialer. Expect a really big performance here.
Mas também utilizam uma correia de firma-pé para deixar o pé realmente muito preso. Essa prova aqui precisa de muita explosão, então ela sai numa arrancada forte ali do bloco de partida, depois tem que manter, né, o ritmo, acelerando na pista cada vez mais, mas também não pode explodir muito no início, senão falta gás no final. Então elas precisam ter muito controle e muita sincronia.
So Kanuma, 35 years of age. The pilot, Mai Tanaka.
So it's New Zealand in front at the moment. Amanda Cameron, 1:11.737.
That is the time to beat. That is a nice looking start.
So the pilot, Mai Tanaka, 26 years of age. Yuri Kanuma at 35 years of age. How's the first 125? They're in front.
Well, that is a great start for the Japanese pair. Get a good indication at the first lap. And they are sitting almost half a second in front of the fastest pair thus far, which has been from New Zealand.
They are now going even quicker as they make their way around to the
So really starting to add some pepper to this ride. They are absolutely flying along at the moment. They're half a second in front of all comers, 625 metres, and they're still half a second in front, so they're keeping the consistency. And just at this crucial stage, when it starts to really hurt, the lactic acid is building up.
And that advantage has slipped a little. Let's see what they can maintain for this last lap. They really need to lift it a gear again, and they have. 0.521 in front, 1:11 the time to beat, and they've just come in underneath. 1:11.075, that's enough to ride them into top position here.
So they really are teetering around a medal now, aren't they? Because they're in front with 4 combinations to go. So 1:11.075, to give you a bit of an indication, the Paralympic record is 1:08.919, and the next 4 combinations are very competitive indeed. So they're right there, the Japanese. They just now have to sit in the clubhouse and wait.
Well, it's a very difficult time. You wait for the next 4 competitors to go through, sitting in first position, but knowing that the competition yet to come is of extremely high quality. They will be pleased with that ride. It was an excellent performance. They got a great start, which is so crucial in this event. And rather than falling away in the final 2 laps, they actually picked up the pace, and particularly that final lap, they'll be very, very pleased with that indeed.
So next out is New Zealand once again, and Emma Foy, the 27-year-old who was born in Dargaville and resides in Cambridge in New Zealand. winner of the individual pursuits at the World Championships over the last 3 years, and in the time trial in this particular event, a bronze medalist 2 years ago at World Championship level.
World Championships in 2015. Please welcome the team of New Zealand.
And Laura Thompson is the pilot today. Emma Foy, just 27 years of age.
The
and
team of New Zealand, the pilot is Laura
they've
Thompson.
got a pretty strong record together. They haven't ridden at a Paralympic Games together before. However, they have been competing at World Championships all over the world, and in the individual pursuit in particular. They won that event earlier this year and last year. Earlier this year, of course, in those World Championships in Monte Chiari. And last year in the Netherlands, they were third in this event. Clean start.
So the first 125-metre time will be interesting. Looked a little bit tardy off the start. Let's have a look here. 14.438 is just 0.1, so that's going to be whittled back quite easily if they can. And yes, there's nothing in it now. 22.749. There's just a fingernail in that. There's
absolutely, and look, they've already managed to pick up the pace. You can see them working so well together. Their tempo, they've picked it up. They did have that clean start. It was so crucial, but now they're just got the slimmest of margins, riding themselves into first position. They're on the hunt for a medal, this pair.
Well, Emma Foy, she started paracycling in 2013, but she believes, as she reflects, that the sport of cycling has always been in her blood, and that it's been a life in the making, being a cyclist. Well, this is a big moment for her. The New Zealanders have already set a benchmark. 1:11.075 is the time to beat, and they're in front now. So they're first and third, New Zealand. Emma Foy and Laura Thompson are now well and truly in contention for a medal. A terrific ride.
They are indeed. So the Japanese pair of Yuri Kanuma and Mai Tanaka have just been bumped out of first position. They'll still have that nervous wait to see whether they can stay in the hunt for the medals, but the New Zealand pair, well, there is a strong chance, but we do know we still have 3 quality outfits to come.
So not the best of starts, but they really did up the ante towards the halfway mark, and they were able to hold at sustained speed. And you saw the determination in the face of Emma Foy. A job well done.
So as we mentioned, they are leading the competition, but we still have 3 competitors to come. We've got Australia, Great Britain and the Netherlands, 3 very strong cycling nations, and Great Britain, of course, hoping to add to their cycling medal tally from day one, where they won 3 of the 4 gold medals on offer on the first day of the track cycling competition here in Rio. And the Australian pair, Jessica Gallagher, being piloted by Madison Jansen. Jessica Gallagher, of course, became the first female Paralympian to participate in the winter and the summer games for Australia.
Yes, looking to create some history here to be the first Paralympian from Australia to take a medal in both the winter and summer Paralympics. But just a sporting family. Her mother was a world indoor rower, and Jess also competed in athletics at the Paralympic Games 4 years ago in London, apart from that skiing resume from 2010 and 2014 at the Winter Games. So sports in the blood.
Yes, indeed. She only took up paracycling in late 2014, but said from the start she knew it was exactly what she wanted to do. 30 years of age, Jessica Gallagher, piloted by Madison Jansen. It's It's a clean start for the Australian pair, and we'll get a good indication of just how fast that's been. The exertion on the face of the pilot, Madison Jansen. So we get an early mark, 4 foot 14.438, and they've come under that. That has been a terrific start for the Australians.
That is an explosive start, isn't it? Under us, almost a second. That is a terrific start, and they're in front by over a second now. The 30-year-old Jess Gallagher, piloted by the 21-year-old Madison Jansen. This is a brilliant start, and they're increasing on it.
So as we round around to the second of 4 laps, we'll get a look there, over a second and a half in front of the New Zealand pair that were the fastest till now.
Well, this is a ride that's going to put them in medal contention, no doubt about that. It's heading up towards the 2-second mark. They received the Paralympic bell, time to beat 53.791. It's almost up to 2 seconds, and this is going to be a terrific performance. This could be a history-making ride for Jessica Gallagher, who's been a medalist at the Winter Paralympic Games, and it might even be a medal now at the Summers with a time of 108.171. It's a Paralympic record as well. It's all happening for the Australian combination as Jessica Gallagher salutes the crowd. Big performance.
Well, they are guaranteed a medal from here, but what colour will it be? Will that performance, that Paralympic record performance, be enough? They are in the top of the leaderboard now, but we still do have the world record holder to come. The next pair coming up from Great Britain. But look at this start. It was excellent. They were quick out of the blocks and just built on that lead throughout the ride.
Well, that was clearly the best start we've seen. No doubt about that. Not even a hesitation.
Well, they're clearly well drilled by their coach, Peter Day.
The race situation
in Melbourne, in Australia.
In the gold medal position.
So for now, they've got their one hand on the gold medal position, but
Japan in the bronze medal position.
Got the double world champion and double Commonwealth gold medalist coming up in Sophie Thornhill from Great Britain, who will look to continue their domination after taking 3 gold medals on the track in cycling on day 1. But the Australians, if anything, they've put a little bit of scoreboard pressure on them now. They're in the clubhouse with a brilliant time of 108.171.
Faster than anyone has ever gone in the Paralympics before. Australia top of the leaderboard.
Well, the question will be the world record holder, Sophie Thornhill, who's riding next at 105.912. That is the world record. So how long will this Paralympic record stand? That is the question. Can these pair show some top form? And Helen Scott is the pilot in this combination.
Ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome to the track the current world record holder, Sophie Thornhill, with her pilot Helen Scott, the
Sophie Thornhill,
Great Britain,
who is 20 years of age. Helen Scott, 26 years of age. Sophie went to the same high school as Sarah Story, Dame Sarah Story, who created history on day 1 here of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, becoming the most successful female Paralympian of all time with 12 gold medals. Will some of that rub off here on Sophie Thornhill?
So just making the final preparations. Not only do these cyclists wear cleats, but they have extra straps to ensure that those cleats don't pop with the amount of pressure put on during this powerful start. Not only are you pressing down with your lead foot, but pulling up with the trailing foot to get the maximum torque out of the starting blocks. So, from Great Britain, the world record holders.
It looked like an explosive start.
Yeah, it was a good start there by the pair from Great Britain. Let's get an early indication of just how strong that start has been. And oh, they're looking sharp, aren't they? Very nice indeed. So 0.836 ahead at the moment. Let's see what they can build on throughout this race. And they are looking very, very strong indeed. Sophie Thornhill showing why they are the world record holders, the pair to beat today.
Well, will the world record stand today? 105.912 is the time they have to beat for that. This is extraordinary. At halfway, they're almost 2 seconds quicker than the Australians, and now they are after 625 metres. This is an extraordinary ride. It's been explosive from the start as they get the Paralympic bell. Remember that time, 105.912.
And 108.171 is the time to beat, and it looks like they may well do that with ease as they round onto the final straight.
Here we go.
And that is another Paralympic record, so we did wonder how long that was going to stand. 106.283. It's enough to put them into the gold medal position.
Oh, they're favourites now to have the gold medal draped around their necks. Not quite the world record, but it wasn't that far out. And can you believe it? Smashing the Paralympic record that was set 5 minutes ago.
What a sensational ride. 162.
So Sophie Thornhill and Helen Scott, you could just see right from the start that it was going to be quick.
Well, just so well drilled the way they started that race, and it just looked comfortable. The tempo was high from the start. Just worked together in perfect unison.
Well, I hope you're ready now,
Well,
Rio, to welcome
Great
our
Britain
last team to the track.
now in the
I want you to
hunt
give them a
for their
massive
4th
welcome
track
because
cycling
they are the current
gold medal
world
of
champions.
these games.
And in order to win
Yes,
the gold
there are
medal,
some
they
colours
need
we've
to
seen
break
a lot
the
of so
Paralympic
far in
record,
the
and they
cycling
have
track
gone quicker
program.
in the World
But it could
Championships.
very
We
well
know that they've
be
ridden at 1:06.095.
their 4th gold medal with one combination looking to negate that from Netherlands. Larissa Klaassen,
As we get ready to welcome
piloted
our
by
final team
Hayley
to
Dolman.
decide who takes the gold medal.
So at this stage, it is Sophie Thornhill in front of Jess Gallagher in 2nd place, and then holding the bronze, that's another time we need to watch. Emma Foy from New Zealand, currently on 110.187, looking to hold on to the bronze medal. As our final combination now head onto the velodrome.
The pilot is Hayley Dolman.
This is Larissa Klaassen, the 22-year-old from Netherlands, will be competing. Also, 2 events on the road, but here on the track is a winner of this event, the gold medalist at the World Championships this year, and also runner-up 2 years ago. So there's been steady improvement at World Championship level for Larissa Klaassen to the absolute top of the pops. Is it enough to rattle 106.283 from Sophie Thornhill? This is going to be very tight for medal positions here.
Larissa Klaassen, a 22-year-old student at the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. Her pilot is Hayley Dolman.
The magazine, the Viva magazine in Netherlands, named her the toughest woman in Netherlands.
Well, I'm sure she's about to prove that report correct. As we prepare, these are the final riders of this event. Absolute exertion. You could see the pilot there, Hayley Dolman, shaking a little as she was just trying to put maximum power through that. And it's looking nice in that first lap, so just slightly off the pace at this stage, the time to beat. So we're keeping an eye on the medal positions at the moment. We've got Great Britain sitting in gold, Australia in silver, and New Zealand sitting in the bronze position.
Yes, Hayley Dolman knowing how important that start was, and 0.7 off the pace, so really having to put in now. She is trying so desperately hard at halfway, 34.725, 0.8 off the pace, and this could be a silver medal ride here. 106.283 is the overall time to beat. They're not going to do that, but this could be a silver medal winning ride here.
Well, can they ride themselves into the top of the medal tally? That is the question as we watch the final lap of the Dutch pair, Larissa Klaassen, and they've managed to put themselves into the silver position. So 107.283 1:58.059. Well, what a ride from the Dutch pair, and so they will take silver, and the Australian combination of Jessica Gallagher and Madison Jansen will take bronze. And the pair from Great Britain celebrating, knowing now that they have secured that gold medal, the fourth of the track cycling in these Paralympic Games.
That was a terrific ride by Larissa Klaassen. Just the energy put into it by Hayley Dolman, and Larissa Klaassen was able to match that. Look at this for a start. Look at the pilot go. Really throwing everything into the early strides. And it's a gold medal to Sophie Thornhill and Helen Scott from Great Britain with another spectacular time of 1:06.283, a Paralympic record. It is a silver medal to this combination, Larissa Klaassen and Hayley Dolman, after a brilliant ride, and history for Jessica Gallagher, the first Australian Paralympian to win a medal at both the Winter and Summer Olympics, a bronze for Australia with a time of 1:08.171. But look at the emotion for this combination. It's a gold medal to Sophie Thornhill, Helen Scott, the fourth gold medal for Great Britain at the cycling track program here at the Rio Olympic Velodrome. What a ride it was.
The team will go over and make sure they're okay. Sounded like one of the tyres blew out on that tandem just as well. It didn't happen while they were racing.
Okay, so the feedback from the velodrome, it does sound like one of the tyres might have blown, but it didn't happen during the race, so we'll just wait for further advice on who that happened to, but it will have absolutely no bearing on the results of this competition. Just would have made a nasty bang.
Larissa would not have prepared herself for that fall.
They ride their tyres at extremely high pressure, of course, in this event. So there we have the final standings there. The top 7 of the 14.
It's the double world champion, Sophie Thornhill, and now holds a Paralympic record next to that world record as well, 1:06.283. It's gold to Great Britain, silver to Netherlands, and bronze to Australia.
Já vão se preparar, inclusive, para subir ao pódio e receber a medalha de prata. Aí, os aplausos. Obrigado pelos aplausos às ciclistas dos países.
So there we have Belgium, Poland, Greece. Poland again, Spain, Brazil, and Greece, rounding out those 14 competitors in the women's 1,000 metres time trial, the B classification for visually impaired athletes. And still we have 3 lots of qualification rounds for the individual pursuit, men's C1, C2 and C3 classifications to come in this session on day 2 of the track cycling program at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
Yes, that was a real dash for the medals there, the time trial, but we now move on to qualification in the pursuit, and that will be getting underway very shortly indeed. Just setting up the track, as you can see on the left of screen. And still the applause for our gold medalists in the women's B 1,000 metre time trial. Plenty of excitement. Sophie Thornhill, the gold medalist, ahead of Larissa Klaassen, the silver medalist, and Jessica Gallagher, the bronze medalist.
So rounding out this session, we have the men's C1, C2 and C3, 3,000 metres individual pursuit. And first off the mark, we have the men's C1 category. The world record in this is held by Li Jiangyu. He's going to be riding in the 5th heat today. He set that world record in Monte Chiari at the World Championships in March this year, and the Paralympic record set 4 years ago by Mark Lee Colburn, who is not competing in this event this year. 3:53.881, 3 minutes 53.881. So what will happen is the fastest 2 riders will race for gold, and then the 3rd and 4th riders will race for bronze. That will be in the evening session of day 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So we're setting times in this session, and then these riders have to focus on recovery until they back up the top 4 riders, then to compete for the medals.
Rodrigo Lopez, the bronze medalist at London 2012, the bronze medalist in the World Championships in 2015.
So Rodrigo Lopez, the first
on the bike
off the mark today, the bronze medalist in this event 4 years ago in London. And a very strong time trialist as well. He won the time trial, the C1 1,000 metres time trial in 2014 in Mexico at those World Championships. He also was a bronze medalist in Athens in the road, cycling road race. So he's been, well, he's a very experienced campaigner.
Yes, 4th Paralympic Games for Rodrigo Fernando Lopez. And in the 3,000 metre individual pursuit, the world champion back in 2014 in Mexico 2 years ago. About to get underway. So the men's C1 3,000 metre individual pursuit gets underway here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
And Rodrigo Lopez will really be hoping he'll be racing again in the evening session of day 2 of the Games. He will want to get a medal here in Rio.
It hasn't been the easiest of build-ups for Rodrigo Fernandez Lopez, training for this event after competing in the road and track at 3 previous Paralympic Games. He was training and has sustained an injury whilst training, being hit by a car, and light injuries to his ankle meant that put his training regime back somewhat, but a terrific performance to get back here.
He has done well indeed, and 12 laps of the track. Pretty difficult to go first, but what we're looking for in this session is the top 4 times, so the top 1 and 2 will compete off, ride off for the gold medal, and 3 and 4 will ride for the bronze in the second session on day 2.
Their favourite sons in Argentina. Rodrigo Fernando Lopez was the flag bearer for Argentina at the Pan American Games, which were staged in Toronto last year.
And 37 years of age, a very, very experienced competitor and decorated competitor as well.
So heading towards the halfway mark here. This will give us a bit of a guide. Heading towards the 1,500 metre mark. The world record is held by Li Jiangyu from China. That was set this year in the World Championships of 3:51.961. Remembering this is qualifying for the final later on. Paralympic record is 3:53.881, set by Mark Colburn of Great Britain in the London Paralympic Games. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of what time we're looking towards. Fastest 2 riders race for the gold, and then the 3rd and 4th best times, they race in the bronze medal race.
4 laps of racing to go. Let's encourage Rodrigo Lopez around the track.
So the velodrome announcer there encouraging the crowd, the healthy crowd, to get behind Rodrigo Lopez. It is a difficult challenge racing by yourself, but he's aiming to be racing against somebody in the second session of the day. 5 heats in total today, and as we mentioned, the world champion Li Jianyu will be in heat 5, racing against Arnold Niehaus.
So the 37-year-old from Argentina clocked 123.737 at the 1,000 metre mark, 251.057 at the 2,000 metre mark. This is where the endurance is required with only 2 laps of the velodrome left to go.
Coming up then with 2 laps of racing to go. Let's encourage Rodrigo Lopez.
Encouragement from the coach, really pushing
pushing
Lopez along, coached by Martin Ferrari. Also Juan Lopez, his father, is very hands-on in the training department as well. So the Paralympic bell sounds, and you can see the grimace on the face of Rodrigo Lopez. He's going to put everything into this in the last 125 metres, coming round the top corner, and we'll have our first time posted in this men's C1 3,000 metre individual pursuit, and it's a time of 4:17.966.
So he will have to wait and see whether that is good enough to slip him into the top 4 positions to ride off the medals in the second session of the day. Rodrigo Lopez, the 37-year-old from Argentina, starting proceedings here for the men's C1 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Not the best of starts there. Slightly more forgiving though in these longer events compared with what we saw earlier with the women's B1000 metres individual time trial, where the start is just so crucial. Rodrigo Lopez will just roll the legs over, try and pull down a little. Another busy program he has at these Paralympic Games. He'll also be competing in the track time trial. So here we have the start list of Heat 2 of the qualifying for this C1 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Giancarlo Massini from Italy, Juan Jose Mendez Fernandez from Spain.
Yes, Massini, 46 years of age, from Italy, and his opponent in this particular pursuit is Juan Jose Mendez Fernandez, the 52-year-old on screen. But really the individual pursuit, the pursuit itself comes into play in the race for the medals, but really qualifying is all about the times.
So Mendez Fernandez has had some success in the pursuit when the classifications were slightly different in Athens. He won a silver medal, and in Beijing in 2008 he won a bronze, and in London managed a 5th position, so 4 years ago. Giancarlo Massini, he's 46 years of age, a strong road cyclist rather, 8th in this event in Montechiari in Italy earlier this year. That's the World Championships, and 9th in the time trial last year, as well as the individual pursuit. Let's see what both cyclists can achieve here.
So underway with Juan Jose Mendez Fernandez starting at the top of the track, and Massini, Giancarlo Massini, on the near side, broadcast side. And at this very early stage, we can see who's got the early advantage. It's at this point Massini ahead of Mendes Fernandez, but keeping in mind it's more about the times at this stage in the qualifying.
Which resulted in his amputations, and he riding now on this track to try and set the fastest time. 4:17.966. Giancarlo Massini used to be a world
So Massini from Italy, Giancarlo Massini,
which resulted in some
a real time trialer on the road, on the track in the individual pursuit, finishing 8th at the World Championships, so would be really hoping for an improvement on that here at 2016. And his opponent in this particular heat, Mendes Fernandez, the 52-year-old, as we've mentioned, has been to the Paralympic Games in London, Beijing and Athens before that, and that was just his road race resume. As far as the track is concerned, was 5th in this event 4 years ago, so would be hoping to nudge for a medal.
Yes, indeed, and Mendes Fernandez, you can see on your screen there, currently in 3rd position at this early stage of this qualification round. Let's see if he can pick up the pace for the latter half of this heat.
This is a tremendous tussle between these two
And
riders.
Giancarlo Massini coming across the line here at the 1500-metre mark, so he's gaining ground.
And ideally, there's not a great deal between them here in this pursuit. They're really pushing each other, even though the times posted are all important in this qualification round. This is a very good duel between Juan Jose Mendes Fernandez and Giancarlo Massini. Similar in age, and also their times very similar.
So Giancarlo Massini has paraplegia as a result of a motorcycle accident in 2012, so just 4 years ago, and look at him now and what he's able to achieve.
So getting into the last 1,000 metres, the real test of this men's C1 3,000 metre individual pursuit.
Absolutely, the athletes will be feeling the pain right about now, but it's not over yet. Another 3 laps to go of this 3,000 metre event in the qualifying round.
In Beijing in 2008, as they make their way around this track for this 3,000 meters individual pursuit. They come back
So far, Rodrigo Fernando Lopez from Argentina, his time of 4:17.966, and he started off the competition. And now we see only a lap and a half of both of these riders to go. And now you can make that 1 lap to go as the bell sounds. And it's probably going to be a shade better than the time of Lopez, but only just. So a big round of applause from the crowd here in the velodrome, as it's going to be Giancarlo Massini coming in to clock 4:14.785, which is narrowly quicker than Lopez from Argentina. And here is the Spanish rider of Juan Jose Mendes Fernandez, clocking a time of 4:19.161.
That's right, so Massini in 1st position, but we still have 3 heats to go containing 6 cyclists, so we will have to wait and see whether his time will be good enough to get him into the medal rounds in the 2nd session of day 2.
Well done, Juan Jose Mendes Fernandez has given his all there.
Good support at the velodrome here at the track cycling on day 2. Healthy crowds. The Dutch supporters have been pretty vocal as always. And of course, Great Britain have been the early performers. As we look to...
Well, the Great Britain fans, I think, have just about roared their voices hoarse. I think they've lost their voice.
No riders from Great Britain in this event, however. So we have Billy Lister, and he is from the USA, and Eric Winkler from Germany, who you can see on your screen. This is the men's C1 category.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in the back straight a rider who's been a bronze medalist in Athens.
Billy Lister will start on the near side. Eric Winkler from Germany on the far side. Billy Lister from the USA, 34 years of age, resides in Colorado Springs. And in this particular event, the C1 3,000-metre individual pursuit finished just outside the medals in the World Championships, finishing in 4th place. He's also a road cyclist and will be competing in that event in the C1, C2, C3 category here at Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. He's also competed in para-triathlon in previous events on the international stage.
And Eric Winkler was a road time trial medalist in Athens with the bronze in 2004. I'll just nudge the cameraman away just a little. Crowd sitting behind both these cyclists here, so the time to beat at this stage is 4:14.785. That is the fastest, but cyclists need to finish in the top 4 if they want to be in the medal position, in medal contention in the second session.
Yeah, so far the 3 riders we've seen in this qualification round of the men's C1 3,000-metre individual pursuit have been very close, only covering around about 4.5 seconds. So you'll get a bit of an idea of how the medals will set up. So the fastest 2 riders race for gold in a field keeping in mind of 9, even though we're seeing the 2 riders here, Lister and Winkler. And they come around their respective corners, 625 metres. It'll be Lister ahead of Winkler, but both riders, compared to the other 3 that we've seen so far, are 2nd and 3rd fastest. The fastest to date, Giancarlo Mussini from Italy.
And remembering that the world record holder Li Jiangyu from China is competing in Heat 5. This is Heat 3 of the event. Billy Lister and Eric Winkler sitting in 2nd and 3rd position at this stage of 5 riders.
Like many of the Paralympians, Winkler works away from the track as well. He's a sports teacher for children with impairments. So has a busy time and also loves to compete in cross-country skiing. And there is a sport, cross-country skiing, that uses every ounce of capacity in your body, just like this particular sport of cycling.
And Billy Lister from the United States, you can see on your screen, he began paracycling in 2011. Has competed at several world championships around the world.
These riders then coming round to hit the line with 5 laps of
So
racing to go as they
with the
try to beat this time
1750
at
metre
Massini
mark
in Italy.
clocked up, that means 5 laps of the velodrome to go. And we'll get a bit of a guide here. Winkler's the quickest. He's the quickest of the 5 riders to date. And Lister will go up as the 2nd fastest at this stage. So can Winkler...
And it looks, unfortunately, as though Eric Winkler's prosthesis has clicked out of his pedal. See what he chooses to do here. It's very, very unfortunate for the German, and very, very difficult to balance on the bike without the prosthesis clipped into the cleat on the pedal.
So the crowd really getting behind Eric Winkler, who is continuing.
So he's pulled out of the way so as not to interfere with the time of Billy Lister. So some excellent sportsmanship there. Billy Lister is continuing, and we'll have to see what Winkler does.
So Winkler will be disappointed because he was leading the charge as far as the times are concerned, as he's about to be assisted off the track, as it is Billy Lister who is now on the track solo. And let's see his time. Can it compete with Massini's of 4:14.785? Here is the time. I think it's going to be more than competitive. 4:08.275. 4:08.275 for Billy Lister of the USA, and you can see that he's absolutely delighted with that.
So now with 4 cyclists to go, Billy Lister will have to wait and see whether that time is enough to put him into the medal ride-off in session 2 of day 2. Excellent effort there, but Eric Winkler from Germany, a very unfortunate circumstance there where his prosthesis clicked out of his pedal and he pulled it off to the side of the track. Extremely disappointing. He does have 3 other events at these games, but not a pleasant way to start. So Billy Lister in the lead of this qualification round at the moment. Still 4 riders across 2 heats to go, including the world record holder Li Jianyu from China.
Good news, Eric Winkler of Germany will be given the opportunity to race again at the end of heat.
Okay, so news just coming through that Eric Winkler will be given the opportunity to race again at the end of this competition. So he will be able to post a score that will be put into the overall lineup. At this stage, he'll be posted as a DNF. It did not finish. However, he will be given another opportunity.
Please now welcome to the track in the back straight, the champion in 2000.
So a relief for him. Difficult though, because he did ride a substantial portion of that race. So we move on to the next heat. Michael Teuber from Germany.
World Championships from Canada, Ross Wilson.
And we see Ross Wilson from Canada, 34 years of age, from Edmonton. And the man on the right from Canada, Ross Wilson, was the silver medalist in this event at the last 2 World Championships at Montecarlo and also Apeldoorn in Netherlands. His opponents in this particular heat, Michael Teuber, the 48-year-old from Germany, and plenty of outstanding results on the track, all the way, posting these results all the way back to 2006, and also competed at the Paralympic Games back in Sydney in 2000. So this is his 5th Olympic Games.
So the German, a real veteran of this competition. He did win the gold medal in the road time trial in London 4 years ago. Extremely experienced paracyclist. Can he add to the medal tally here today?
So at the moment, Teuber's ranked 4th in the overall standings, even though, just to reiterate, that this is the men's C1 3,000 metre individual pursuit. The pursuit comes into play when they are racing for medals. Usually the pursuer, if they are able to capture their opponent, wins the race, but that's not quite the case here in the qualification round. It is all about posting the best time you can. So even if there is a capture, the second rider can continue and post the best time they can.
And those times, of course, going to the overall pool to be ranked with the top 4 going into the gold and bronze medal competitions in the second session of the day. As we can see there, Ross Wilson in hot pursuit of Michael Teuber from Germany. And he may be in the hunt here for a catch here. Ross Wilson riding in first position at the moment across the competition, so a little quicker than Billy Lister at this stage.
We can compare them after the 1,000 metre mark. Ross Wilson clocked a time of 1:19.828, and that was faster than any other rider, including Lopez, who was first to go from Argentina, who clocked 1:23.737. And as you mentioned, it looks as though a capture is on the cards here. Michael Teuber trying to stave off Ross Wilson. As Ross Wilson moves to the outside and will cleanly breeze past, although Teuber just getting a little bit tight there and not that keen to let Wilson go past. He's going to go by now.
Very difficult to complete that overtaking around the bend and taking a wide line there. You did see that they just hit one of the little barricades down in the blue section of the velodrome.
So just reiterating that the second rider will continue here, Teuber, in this qualification round to post a time, even though he has been captured. So we're looking at Ross Wilson from Canada, who is the quickest in this men's C1 to date. 2:45.375 was the time for Teuber at the 2,000 metre mark. 10 seconds quicker, though, was Ross Wilson, 2:35.674. So he is well on his way as he receives the bell to post the quickest time so far from the 7 riders to post a time. So coming around the turn for Wilson, and it's a time of 3:53.666, but it's a Paralympic record, or only narrowly too. Mark Colburn from the London Paralympics held that 3:53.881, so narrowly inside Ross Wilson. What a start to his campaign, a Paralympic record in the qualification round. And the time also for Teuber, Michael Teuber, was 4:04.105, so that, even though it was 10 seconds slower than Wilson, has him in second.
And Ross Wilson, an average speed of 46.219 kilometres an hour in that Paralympic effort that he had. So he will be riding off for a medal. We have 2 cyclists to come in the final heat of this competition, so he will be riding off, but which colour medal, we just don't know yet.
So the fastest 2 will race for gold in the second day of cycling competition, and 3rd and 4th best times will race for bronze. A fist pump there from Ross Wilson.
So at this stage, Ross Wilson leading the competition, Michael Teuber, followed by Billy Lister, they're the top 3, and Massini from Italy in 4th position.
So now from Netherlands we have Arnold Nijs, and his opponent in this qualification heat. Heat number 5 is Li Jiangyu from China.
So here is the world champion, the world record holder. This will be a very interesting heat indeed. We've just seen a Paralympic record set, and can Li Jiangyu set a time here and set the tone for the second session of today?
Well, we've already seen the Paralympic record toppled, so the standard is very high.
So Li Jiangyu, the world champion, resides in Hangzhou, a beautiful part of the world, beautiful part of China. 28 years of age, and he may well be riding into the peak of his career in the next few years, and clearly already he's had some success. He's had medals in London, on both the track and the road cycling, and obviously had a fantastic performance earlier this year in Montechiari in Italy at the World Championships. Looking very comfortable. It's a very easy style on his bicycle.
So 2 laps completed, the 500-metre mark, and at this stage, Li Jiangyu is the quickest.
Paralympic gold medal when he won the 1 kilometre time trial in the Paralympics in London at 2012.
So Li Jiangyu, a gold and a silver in London 4 years ago. He'll be on the hunt for a medal again. So Niehaus sitting in second position at the early stage of this competition in the overall leaderboard. So looking for a 1 to 4 finish to be racing off for the medals, but a 1-2 finish to race off for gold tonight.
But this so far is looking like a great performance. Li Jiangyu 1:16.5.99. This is inside Paralympic record pace.
Li Jiangyu vai acelerando, ele já está dentro do recorde parcialmente aí na passagem, ele vai com a liderança nessas passagens. A gente
So at this point, it's Ross Wilson of Canada, 3:53.666, the time that they're hunting for. And it'll be interesting to see what the approach is here from Li Jiangyu, because we know he's so capable with the world record. Does he try and really push that time of 3:53.666 to make a statement, or does he conserve energy knowing full well that he's got a real buffer between, at this stage, first and third? I suppose trying to get into the top 2, you really have to give it all you've got.
Well, that's right. I mean, you don't want to ease off only to find that you've slipped into 3rd or 4th position to be riding off for the bronze medal, as the reigning world champion Li Jiangyu would be hoping to be in the gold medal ride-off in the second session of day 2 of these games.
Well, we get a really good idea here at the 2,000-metre mark. So comparing it to the earlier time of Wilson's. Wilson's time at the 2,000-metre mark was 2:35.674. Li Jiangyu's is 2:31.784. So we could be seeing a world record here as we speak, and he's about to capture the Dutch rider. This could be a real statement made by Li Jiangyu.
Look, it could indeed, but important to note that Niehaus is actually having a terrific ride himself, and he's currently sitting in 3rd position, so he was only 9 seconds off Li Jiangyu's pace, and it is enough. If he can maintain this, it's going to be enough to see him in the hunt for medals in the second session on day 2.
Yes, so he is really riding himself into medal contention as well, Niehaus, so he'd be aware of that. He'd be clocking that in his own mind, but now you can see the exertion of Li Jiangyu. He is going for broke here. So could this be a world record? The world record is 3:51.961. He has 1 lap of the velodrome to go, 250 metres. Everyone in the velodrome knows this is a real possibility. As he goes down the back, is he starting to tire? Really gasping in the big ones. So remember, 3:51.961. It's going to be close. I reckon he's going to do it. He has done it.
What a terrific performance from the world champion, who now has broken his own world record by about a second. And gee, doesn't that set the tone for the second session on day 2? And Niehaus, despite being overtaken, has still managed to qualify for the bronze medal ride-off this evening. Remembering, however, that we still have 1 rider still to come due to that technical issue with the bike. The German rider, Eric Winkler, will ride straight after this, but 3rd position will be enough to put him into the top 4, regardless of the result of Winkler's ride. So he will be riding off for bronze, but this moment really is for the reigning world champion, Li Jiangyu.
So it's going to be, at this stage, Wilson against Li Jiangyu. But keeping in mind, Winkler was the fastest in the group before that technical issue. Would he have toppled a time of 3:53.666? That's the question mark. But at this point, the gold medal race will be Ross Wilson and Li Jiangyu. And, oh, gee, could he go quicker?
Yes, so really, I mean, only just over 3 seconds in it, so it will be a very, very good tussle in the second session. of day 2 in that gold medal ride-off. And very, very tight between 3rd and 4th position at the moment.
So plenty of excitement here at the Velodromo Olimpico de Rio. And we're about to see Eric Winkler to individually ride this pursuit, the qualifying round. At this stage, here are the standings, with the world record for Li Zhangyu of 350.373, and it was 3.293 between him and Ross Wilson of Canada. And Arnold Niehaus looks like he will be well and truly in the bronze medal race. In fact, we can confidently say that now, of course. So we return to the track for the final rider, Eric Winkler of Germany. And the crowd really appreciating the efforts here of Eric Winkler, who is 48 years of age, and a comprehensive resume of road and track results, and quite a veteran of Paralympics as well. And on the track, just outside the medals in the pursuit in Beijing, 5th in Athens in the pursuit, and 6th in this particular classification, a changed classification, the C1 3,000 metre individual pursuit in London. And listen to the crowd really giving Winkler so much encouragement.
Well, he's certainly trying to overcome that disappointment from the earlier heat when his prosthesis clicked out of the pedal. And the crowd is really getting behind him. This is the C1 at 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Eric Winkler trying to ride himself into the top 4 of this competition to ride off for a medal, and with that crowd support, let's see what he can achieve.
So at around this stage, he was clearly the quickest of the competitors. Remembering when he was on the track, there were 3 riders that had posted times. And Winkler now 46.855 for 500 metres. And we'll get a bit of a gauge of where he sits at the 1,000 metres, because we'll be able to compare. The fastest was Li Zhangyu of 1:16.599, and then it was Wilson at 1:19.828. But then there's a real clump of riders around the 1:20 to 25 mark. So we'll get a bit of an idea of where Winkler sits after a third of his qualifying race.
So sitting in 7th position at the moment, it is a nervous time for his compatriot Michael Teuber as he sits in 4th position, to see whether Winkler will knock him out of the bronze medal ride-off. At this stage, not quick enough, but it is a 3,000 metre event and we're not quite halfway yet.
So at this point, he sits at 1:25.506 in 7th position. But to get to the bronze medal race, he needs to topple the 4th rider, which is Teuber, of 1:25.388. So there's not a great deal between them at this early stage.
No, there's not. We can see he's actually making his way up the rankings now. He's slipped into 5th position and he's going to put in a strong finish. It's a speed endurance event, 3,000 metres, a difficult event. The 48-year-old, a very, very experienced campaigner, a strong road cyclist, 4th in this event in 2008 in Beijing, when the classifications were slightly different. They were amended, or adjusted rather, after the Beijing Paralympic Games, and already Winkler now slipping into 4th position. So as I mentioned, a very, very nervous time for compatriot Michael Teuber.
Yes, so now at the 2,000 metre mark, to compare to Teuber, 2:45.375 is what he needs to beat. Can he do that? He's going to be close. In fact, he is now. So he's into 4th place. So that is now bronze medal race contention. If he can hold it, he is going to make that final bronze medal race.
So he's holding that for the moment, with another 3 laps to go.
So now the time he's looking for to get into 3rd or 4th. In fact, there's not a great deal between 3rd and 4th, Niehaus and Teuber. A 4:04 would do it. A 4:04 would definitely do it. and he needs to be under 4:04.105. So it's very close with 2 laps to go.
There is not going to be very much in this at all. He's managing to maintain that speed. He's still in 4th position, eyeing off that bronze medal ride-off in session 2.
So very close indeed, and keeping in mind too, what is a little bit tougher for Winkler is he did ride about 5 or 6 laps earlier in the session, so fatigue would be starting to set in here at the end of the 3,000 metres. So the time required is 4:04.105 with 125 metres to go. 4:04.105 he needs to beat. 4:02, 4:03, he's done it easily. He's into the 3rd position and the bronze medal race. Well done, Eric Winkler from Germany. That's a tip-top performance.
Oh, he'll be absolutely thrilled with that, and his legs may not have felt as fresh as he had hoped, given he had ridden about 6 laps of his initial heat before having that gear malfunction, but no such problems here. He's now in bronze medal contention.
Yeah, so that means that our gold medal race will be Li Zhangyu and Ross Wilson of China and Canada respectively, and then the bronze medal race will be Eric Winkler, the man you just saw from Germany, up against the Dutchman Arnold Niehaus. So I suppose the only disappointment for Germany is that as a result of Eric Winkler making that race, that has toppled out the other German in Michael Teuber. So there is the qualification. Li Zhangyu, it was China 1, Canada 2, Germany 3, Netherlands 4, Germany 5. That was exciting.
Well, it was indeed. So disappointment for Michael Teuber. He'll be happy for his teammate, but it has come at a cost. An excellent morning of racing thus far. So we still have the C2 and the C3 categories to come at the Beijing Velodrome, the Rio Velodrome.
Yes, so very shortly we have the victory ceremony of the women's B 1,000-metre time trial. That is next up here. And then we have further qualification in individual pursuits in the men's C2 and the men's C3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the women's 1,000-meter time trial B classification.
Senhoras e senhores, a cerimônia de premiação da prova de quilômetro contra o relógio B feminino.
So it's now time for the victory ceremony following the women's B 1,000-metre time trial. And wasn't this so exciting, where it was Sophie Thornhill, the double world champion, double Commonwealth gold medalist, and the world record holder, clocking a time that was just outside the world record, but there wasn't a great deal in it. Winning the gold medal, Larissa Klaassen from Netherlands, a brilliant ride in second with her pilot Haley Dolman, and third from Australia, Jessica Gallagher, who initially clocked the Paralympic record, only to be toppled then by Klaassen and Thornhill after that. So it was a very high standard indeed. It was the gold medal to Great Britain, the silver medal Netherlands, and Australia in bronze, and the fourth gold medal for Team GB here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic cycling program.
And goodness me, well, in London 4 years ago, Great Britain managed 5 gold cycling medals, and here they are with 4 already, and it's only day 2 of the track cycling program. Obviously their team has gone from strength to strength. Presenting the medals here is Brian Cookson from Great Britain. He is the president of the International Cycling Federation, and Dulce Fernanda from Gemli from Brazil is the director of Rio 2016.
As medalhas serão entregues pelo Sr. Brian Cookson, presidente da União Ciclística Internacional, acompanhado pela senhora Fernanda Mourão, diretora de soluções financeiras da Rio 2016.
Bronze medalists representing Australia.
Medalha de bronze, representando a Austrália, Jessica Gallagher.
So Jessica Gallagher and Madison Jansen from Australia. Terrific ride. They set a Paralympic record.
And some further history for Jess Gallagher as well. The first Australian Paralympian to win a winter and summer medal.
And a decorated career that's been. She's still young, Jess Gallagher, and she did compete in athletics as well before falling in love with cycling, and we'll see this pair compete again in the track cycling but also in the road cycling in week 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
And a large Australian contingent in the background as well.
So adding to a silver won yesterday by Sue Powell. And here we have Larissa Klaassen from the Netherlands.
Well, leading into the Paralympic Games here, they would have been hoping for a Paralympic record, which they did ride. But of course, Sophie Thornhill, after that, was able to clock the time of 106.283. So they done what they set out to do. The silver medal for Larissa Klaassen and their pilot Haley Dolman. Silver medal for Netherlands. And the large contingent of Dutch, as you can see there, making plenty of noise.
It has been a great start to the cycling program for the Netherlands.
Medalists and Paralympic champions representing Great Britain.
Medalha de ouro e campeã paralímpica representando a Grã-Bretanha, Sophie Thornhill.
And Sophie Thornhill, world champion, Paralympic champion, so many accolades, and more importantly, the gold medal draped around her neck. More success for Great Britain. Gold medalists from Great Britain, Sophie Thornhill and pilot Helen Scott. And now the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of Great Britain.
Senhoras e senhores, o hino da Grã-Bretanha.
So the domination on the cycling track continues for Great Britain. Gold medal, Sophie Thornhill. Silver medalist, Larissa Claassen. Bronze medalist, Jessica Gallagher.
The athletes enjoying their moment there. The crowd very appreciative at the velodrome. So Great Britain yet again tasting success. Silver for the Netherlands and bronze for Australia. That's the women's B1000 individual time trial for visually impaired athletes who ride with pilots. And the athletes will have the appropriate photos taken, interviews and other media commitments as we prepare for the next event, which is on the schedule, the men's C2 3,000 metres individual pursuit, the qualifying round. There'll be 5 heats shortly. So we're moving on now to the men's 3,000 metres individual pursuit C2 category qualifying. In Heat 1 we have Alem Mamouni and he's from Ghana, and Roger Bollinger from Switzerland.
This is the setup. We have 5 heats in this men's C2 3,000 metre individual pursuit. So as far as the pursuit aspect is concerned, it's more about clocking a time than the pursuit itself in this heat round.
So 5 heats in total, just rounding out. Colin Lynch and Lewis Rolfe will be later on, and the world record holder, again a Chinese athlete, Liang Guihua, will be riding in the 5th heat against Tristan Chernov from Canada.
So it's the fastest 2 riders racing for gold, and then the 3rd and 4th riders race for bronze. So that's the setup of this men's C2 3,000 metre individual pursuit.
And generally those cyclists will have around 5 or 6 hours to recover before they ride off for those medals in the second session of day 2. of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So it's all about posting the fastest 4 times to make sure you're in the hunt for a medal. So the bike's being set up now. We have a Swiss athlete, Roger Bollinger. He's 41 years of age. Has a lot of international experience. He's been competing at World Championships over the last few years. At least his hobbies is reading and cooking when he's not training.
Please welcome in the back straight from Switzerland, Roger Bollinger.
Roger Bollinger, he was involved in an accident at work which resulted in his right leg being amputated above the knee. And from Ghana we have Mamouni Alem. So both athletes untested at the Paralympic Games level. Alem has also played football on the Ghanaian national amputee team. They won the African Football Cup of Nations in Sierra Leone in 2007, so no stranger to high-level competitions, and he's aiming to win Ghana's first Paralympic medal at the 2016 Games.
Yes, untested at this individual pursuit. Caper did contest the time trial in London, but was quite ill during the Paralympic Games. He was the flag bearer for Ghana, Mamouni Alem, 4 years ago, but he contracted chicken pox, and for anybody that's had chicken pox, it can really be tough, and that didn't help his performance at all, and then had to actually withdraw from the road race. So plenty to achieve here for Mamouni Alem. He'd be really keen during these Rio Paralympic Games to perform as he salutes the crowd. He's a motivational speaker back home in Ghana. He's pumping himself up for a big one here.
Certainly is enjoying the spotlight. So both cyclists away, heat 1 of 5. And Mamouni Alem going for Ghana's very first medal at the Paralympic Games, and Roger Bollinger from Switzerland competing in his first Paralympics for track cycling. This is the C2 classification. They will be racing 12 laps of the velodrome, 3,000 metres, and Roger Bollinger has the early advantage at this stage in this speed endurance event.
Yes, Bollinger, 41 years of age from Switzerland, and Alem from Ghana, 32 years of age. And we get a bit of an idea at this point. It's Bollinger just holding the advantage, but not by that much at this stage.
No, you're right, there's not much in it. Alem, it will be competing in the time trial as well, also in that C2 classification. Bollinger competing in 4 events, 2 on the track and 2 on the road. And as we've mentioned before, the road cycling takes place in week 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So Bollinger still with the early advantage here.
So Bollinger with a packed program here, Rio 2016, and in this individual pursuit finished 8th at World Championship level 2 years ago, and also last year a top 12 finish. That does mix his races with the road racing and also the individual pursuit and the time trial. He's going to capture Alem here, but Alem will continue to get the best time as possible. Heading towards the halfway mark. Now, having a look at the 1,000 metre mark, the time for Bollinger, 1:25.841. So that'll give us a bit of a gauge at the 1,000 metre mark where he will sit. Alem was 1:33.381.
Continue into the 2,000 metres point. We will see 5.
So this is a 3,000 metre event. We'll get another update at the 2,000 metre mark to see how these athletes are performing.
It's been a terrific atmosphere inside the velodrome. The crowd very responsive indeed. This is the only wooden indoor velodrome in this country. It was specially made for the Olympics and Paralympic Games. As Bollinger goes through at the 2,000 metres at the 2:37 mark. In fact, now that was at the 17:50. We'll clock 2:48.453 at the 2,000 metre mark. 2:48.453.
And the good news about the velodrome is that it will remain a elite training facility after these games. It will be for the Olympic and Paralympic cycling teams of Brazil. And all the reports from the athletes are that this is a fantastic velodrome to race at.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into the final.
The time for Alem at the 2,000 metre mark, 3:14.691. So fatigue just starting to set in as Bollinger is powering towards the final 2 laps of this first heat of the men's C2 classification, the 3,000 metre individual pursuit.
So Bollinger will just pull to the outside and overtake Alem. Bollinger appears to be having a very strong ride. Of course, we still have another 4 heats to follow. And as we mentioned, Alem will keep going to post a qualifying time, but in the finals, if you are passed by your opponent, that does mean the race ends and the winner is declared immediately. But in the qualifying, you still are able to post a time.
So the time to be posted right now, 4:13.918. 4:13.918. And now the crowd keeping the encouragement for Mamouni Alem from Ghana, the flag bearer for his country 4 years ago in London. A small team from Ghana at the 2016 Paralympic Games here in Rio. And wonderful to have them competing here in the cycling. Terrific stuff.
25 metres to go. The average speed of Bollinger was 42.5 kilometres an hour.
So here is Mamouni Alem to clock his time.
And setting himself up to complete the 3,000
And down to the line, his time is 4:59.965. 4:59.965.
So just coming in that 5-minute mark, Alem. And just a comparison, we do have the world champion riding in Heat 5, Liang Guihua from China. Set the Paralympic record at the London Games, but set the world record in Mexico last year at the World Championships. That Paralympic record is 3:45.243. Be interesting to see what he can achieve in Heat 5. But we do have the first 2 times posted. Bollinger averaging around 42.5 kilometres an hour.
Yes, very quick off the blocks indeed there, Bollinger.
Ladies and gentlemen,
As we now move on to our second heat in the men's C2 3,000 metre individual pursuit. And this is Shota Kawamoto from Japan and Ivo Kablasa from Czech Republic. Czech Republic, a country that compete in many sports around the world and usually perform above their weight division. And of course, the Japanese putting in strong performance at Olympic and Paralympic level in 2016, knowing full well that we'll all be there in 4 years' time for the next renewal in Tokyo. So a few deep breaths for the man from Japan.
So he's just 20 years of age, Shota Kawamoto. competing at his first Paralympic Games and took up paracycling in 2015. So a very short career, but he did compete in Montechiari at the World Championships earlier this year. He was 11th in this event. And that was in March. Ivo Kablasa was 7th in the road time trial in London 4 years ago and 8th in this event in London.
So you would suggest that on paper this combination might be quite close, because Kawamoto finished in 11th place at the World Championships, 8th at the Paralympics 4 years ago, Kablasa. So they could be evenly matched. Kawamoto, a real sportsman, played baseball for Japan in the 2014 World Impaired Baseball Tournament. And his left leg amputated above the knee at 1 month of age.
And two youngsters riding, Kawamoto 20 years of age, as we mentioned, and Kablasa just 23 years of age. So we do hope that we're seeing the beginnings of some long Paralympic or paracycling careers here. And both of these athletes will be competing in the road race as well. In fact, both have extremely busy programs at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, 5 events apiece for these athletes. As we have a look at the early results, and Kablasa sitting in first position in the overall leaderboard at the moment. This is Heat 2.
5 events. That is a busy schedule indeed.
Yes, it is. So these athletes will compete against each other in the exact same events. So they've got the road race C1, 2, 3 category, the men's time trial on the road. Then they have this individual pursuit category on the track. They've also got the men's C1, 2, 3, 1,000 metre time trial, as well as the team sprint. So they're going to be seeing a lot of each other at these games. They'll be competing against each other in 5 events in total.
So at the 1,000 metre mark, Kablasa from Czech Republic 119.135, Kawamoto 120.653. So there wasn't a great deal in it at all, about 1.5 after the first 1,000 metres. Now at halfway,
4:13.918. The world record is 3:43.67.
and it looks as though that distance has just blown out a shade to about 3.5 seconds. With another 500 metres completed. Kablasa looking nice and strong, nice and relaxed as well. Kawamoto just a little bit wayward down the home straight on that occasion, and trying to get every bit of capacity out of his body. So we reach the 2,000 metre mark and we get a good guide as to where these riders sit. Kablasa 2:38.285, 10 seconds faster than Bolliger at that particular stage. Bolliger from Switzerland, and the time for Kawamoto 2:42.926. So both of them faster than Bolliger, and between these two riders you're looking at about a difference of 4.7 seconds.
So remembering that the Paralympic record is 3:45.243, held by Liang Guihua, who is coming up later in the program. But certainly Kablasa's looking very comfortable on the bike. You'll notice his nice relaxed torso position. Very important not to let those shoulders creep forward during the exertion and tensing up in the upper body. As Kablasa, let's see if he can catch Kawamoto.
Well, he's looking pretty strong, isn't he?
He is
the
indeed.
Final lap. He'd like to get him on the final lap if he can. Kawamoto trying to hold his position. Kablasa coming around, and we'll have another half a lap to go. So the benchmark at this early stage is 4:13.918. He'll be well and truly underneath of that. 3:55.437. 3:55.437. So a good job by Kablasa, and Kawamoto just having to dodge him in finishing the race there. 4:06 38.831. So Kawamoto will be the second fastest, with still 6 riders to come in this men's C2 3,000 metre individual pursuit. The fastest 2 race for gold, 3rd and 4th race for the bronze.
So Koblasa was averaging close to 46 kilometres an hour during that effort, and Shota Kawamoto sitting in second position at the moment. We still have 3 heats left. As we mentioned, 6 riders to compete for the top 4 positions. The top 2 will race off for the gold medal position in the evening session on day 2. And 3rd and 4th will be competing for the bronze. So a little look over the shoulder there from Kawamoto. May have felt that Koblasa came a little too close for him on the overtake, but it's very tricky around those tight bends. As we move on to heat 3, we have a Colombian and a Spanish rider that will be pursuing each other over the 3,000 metre distance.
Our Spanish rider is Maurice Eckhard Chio, and Eckhard Chio is 33 years of age and has plenty of top results at Olympic level on the road, but on the track in this particular event, the 3-kilometre pursuit, has just been outside the medals in Athens in 2004 and Beijing 2008, and finished 6th in London. So just teetering around a bronze medal, but just hasn't been able to quite get there. But as far as his road performances are concerned, he was a bronze medalist in the time trial on the road 4 years ago.
And our Colombian athlete, Alvaro Galvez Becerra, 46 years of age, and also has a packed program. 5 events at these Paralympic Games, 3 events for Eckhard Chio. And in this event in London in 2012, the Colombian was in 5th position, so he'll be hoping to better that this time around at the age of 46. Let's see what he can achieve. The Spanish rider off to a great start. We could see just on the corner of our screen before. Let's get an early update on how things are tracking for him. Eckhard Chio. So 3rd and 4th position, they'll be ramping it up from now, this speed endurance event, 3,000 metres, 12 laps of the velodrome.
So Eckhard Chio, just with the exertions used, using plenty of the track and racing quite low on the velodrome. And as a result would be losing some ground and time in that waywardness. And heading towards the 1,000 metre mark, we get a really good idea of how these riders compare, and also the times compared to the others. So we've got the Colombian Galvez Becerra 1:20.252, and that will be the 2nd fastest time for the group. And he leads Eckhard Chio here by 2.2 seconds, with Eckhard Chio going through the 1,000 metre sectional in 1:22.452.
So we may see about Galvez Becerra able to catch his opponent here in the closing stages of this race. We're just coming up to the halfway mark. We'll have an update for you again at the 2,000 metre mark with the overall standings, 3,000 in total that they're riding, but the Colombian has now edged into the quickest position thus far. He's having a great ride here.
It's been a sprightly start from the Colombian, no doubt about that.
We are looking at is 2:38.285 set by Koblasa of the...
So the time that we're interested in for the 2,000 metre mark is Koblasa's time of 2:38.285 from Czech Republic. Now, we'll see where the Colombian sits compared to that. 2,000 metres about to be clocked, and it's going to be faster, 2:34.606 for Galvez Becerra. So he is now, if he can continue this, he will be the fastest rider out of the 6 we've seen.
And he's looking very comfortable and very strong. It is a good performance. He's ramping it up. You can see that he's been increasing speed throughout the laps here. Will it be enough to overtake Eckhard Chio? So Chio doing enough to be in third position, so he's really staying in contention. He needs to stay in touch. We still have 4 quality riders to come if he wants to be in the hunt for a medal later on day 2.
Yes, well, we have the world record holder, the Paralympic record holder in Liang Wei to race us with his presence. So we can assume that the race is on for spots for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So here we go, the finish for Galvez Bachera.
Well, what a strong finish. So we haven't got a final time there. We've just got to...
It looks as though we've had an issue with the timing.
That's all right. They will back it up with a manual finish as well. So the computerised system, for some reason, has not produced...
Well, it's given us Eckhard Chio's interesting, but it hasn't given us Galvez Bachera, who we were looking forward to seeing. And Eckhard Chio himself has put in a terrific ride, 3:57.786, which was nudging Kablasa. Kablasa from Czech Republic quicker than Eckhard Chio, but Galvez Bachera is going to be quicker. So just ignore that screen there at the moment that says 2nd best, because this man on screen will be the quickest. And that will mean that Eckhard Chio will be the 3rd quickest, and that is now confirmed. The manual time has come in 3:49.238. So Galvez Bachera is the quickest, and that means that Ivo Kablasa is the 2nd fastest, and Maurice Var Eckhard Chio from Spain is the 3rd fastest. So a great ride by the Colombian. It was explosive from the start, and he was able to keep that going over the 3,000-metre journey.
Well, didn't he look fantastic, particularly after the first 4 laps. He really ramped it up, looked so comfortable, so strong. And in the end, he was only, well, 4 seconds outside the Paralympic record. So it's shaping up to be a very, very interesting competition indeed. 2 heats left with 4 riders. And there's the standings thus far.
Alvaro Galvez Bachera with an average time of 47.112 kilometres an hour, leading the table.
In the World Championships from Ireland, Colin Lynch.
So Colin Lynch from
Ireland
on your screen there. No, on the next screen, thank you. And Lewis Rolfe from Great Britain. Great Britain cyclist finishing so featuring so prominently in this track cycling program.
So the 45-year-old from Ireland on the right, the 19-year-old from Great Britain on the left, at the top of your screen. And quick start for Rolfe. The Irishman was born in Singapore and has competed in London 4 years ago, finishing 5th in the road time trial, and on the track in this particular event finished 4th, so just missed out on a medal. And his opponent in Rolfe is 19 years of age and obviously first Paralympic Games.
He is the reigning world champion in the 1,000 metres time trial. He came 5th in the World Championships in the 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Lewis Rolfe. That was earlier this year, of course, those World Championships where most of the paracycling athletes managed to test themselves against each other in the lead-up. Such a crucial event in the lead-up to these Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
So at the 1,000 metre mark, the quickest time was from Kablasa from Czech Republic. Galvez Bachera from Colombia was 1:20.252. And let's have a look here. Well, Rolfe will now be the quickest narrowly. 1:19.603. He's quicker than Lynch, but not as fast as Kablasa in the first 1,000 metres. So both of these riders, Lynch and Rolfe, right up there in contention in the overall standings.
Certainly are. We only have one heat left, so we're trying to see whether these cyclists can get as far up the leaderboard as possible to give themselves that buffer against who is yet to come, Liang Guihua from China. Rolfe looking very, very comfortable at the moment.
So now at the 2,000 metre mark is their next aim. They'd be looking to go quicker than Galvez Pachera of 2:34.6. 2:34.6 is the benchmark. And Rolfe lead, or the lead of Rolfe over Lynch will also be interesting, because it was about 1.5 seconds at the 1,000 metre mark, and it looks as though it's extended out to just over 2 seconds.
So here we're going to get that crucial update at the 2,000 metre mark. So Rolfe is sitting in top of the leaderboard at the moment at 2:32 at that 2,000 metre mark.
Yeah, 2:33.861 to be exact, and that is at the 2,000 metre mark, leading Lynch by just over 2 seconds, and will be quicker than Galvez Pachera. So this is a really good ride by the young Brit. So Louis Rolfe, he would love to go up against Liang Guihua if it works out that way in the gold medal race. But this is going to be a very good time from Rolfe. This is putting him in medal contention, no doubt about that.
It is indeed, and Lynch really trying to make it into that. Well, he really needs to be at least in the top 3 if he wants to be riding off later on day 2, because we do still have Liang Guihua to come. So he is in 3rd position at the moment. Colin Lynch, the 45-year-old from Ireland, as Rolfe heads towards the finish line.
So the finish...
And he has posted a handy time indeed.
Yeah, second fastest, 3:49.908. So that'll just be 0.65 or thereabouts off Galvez Pachera. So getting a little bit weary late, Rolfe. And Lynch from Ireland will be the 3rd fastest, 3:53.3, narrowly nudging ahead of Kablasa from Czech Republic. So it's tight at the top. So it's Louis Rolfe, the 2nd fastest, Colin Lynch from Ireland, the 3rd fastest in the overall standings.
And Galvez Pachera, he averaged just over 47 kilometres an hour. Rolfe just under 47 kilometres an hour, 46.975 kilometres an hour. So there isn't a lot in it. And 2 riders to come, 2 cyclists to come in this final heat of the men's C2 3,000 metres individual pursuit, the qualifying round. And the world champion is Liang Guihua. Heat 5, the 5th and final heat, and Tristan Chenauve from Canada will ride against the world champion.
In the back straight, we welcome the defending champion and world record holder from the People's Republic of China, Liang Guihua. And in the home straight, riding for Canada, the current world champion, Tristan Chenauve.
So being introduced to a very healthy crowd here at the Velodrome in this C2 classification. This could have a real bearing on the race for the medals. The 41-year-old Tristan Chenauve on the right. And the world record holder, defending champion on the left, top of your screen, in Liang Guihua. Galvez Pachera from Colombia is assured a spot in one of the races, the gold or the bronze, but which one will it be? And the same can be said about Louis Rolfe, but which race will it be? At this early stage, Liang off to a tardy start in 5th best after 500 metres.
So expect to see Liang Guihua build throughout this. 3,000 metres. We'll give you updates as we go, but at the moment it's certainly all to Tristan Chernov. He's off to a blistering start, currently sitting in 2nd on the leaderboard.
Yeah, terrific start by the Canadian, the 41-year-old who was runner-up in the scratch at the World Championships this year, and also victorious in this event in the World Championships, the individual pursuit and also the 1,000 metre time trial. So even though Chernov is the defending world champion, we have Liang, who is the defending Olympic champion, or Paralympic champion. So we have all to play for, not just between these two, but also in the overall standings. The time overall, 3:49.238, the time to beat from Gelbis Bachera. But are these two going to go into the gold medal race? Time will tell. It's going to be pretty quick after 1,000 metres. Both of them were faster than anybody else. Chernov 1:17.278, Liang 1:18.986.
So there we have 1 and 2, a little surprising at this stage. However, it does show what great form Chernov is. He actually only took up paracycling last year, would you believe, in a velodrome in Burnaby in Canada. He's also competed internationally in kayak racing. And he says he decided to take up paracycling to see how his body would respond to intense physical efforts. Well, certainly he will be trying that out right here. So Liang Guihua still in 2nd position. Chernov riding the quickest of the day thus far.
Well, at this point, at the 2,000 metre mark, Lewis Rolfe from Great Britain was the fastest of them all. But now Chernov and Liang are really ramping it up, and we're looking possibly at the gold medal race. We could see, in fact, it's very likely we'll see these two riders in the gold medal race later on. So this is going to give us a bit of a form guide. Chernov 2:57.055, and Liang not that far away from him. So this could be a real preview into a fantastic gold medal race.
It is a tremendous ride, and it looks as though Liang Guihua may just have started to speed up a little, and he's finally slipped himself into the top position on the leaderboard. So Liang Guihua finishing extremely strongly as we head into the final lap.
Watch for the Paralympic record, 3:45.243, as he really ramps it up here. Guihua, can he finish off in grand style? Comes round to the corner, the time to beat 3:45.243. He's going to do it easily. 3:42.916, averaging 48.4 kilometres an hour. And Chernov, a time of 3:44.731, the 2nd fastest. There's your gold medal race that we'll see later. But another Paralympic record falls. Liang Guihua, too good.
And Liang Guihua only 2 seconds outside the world record that he set 2 years ago in Mexico. And gee, what a strong finish from him. He was trailing Chernov for the bulk of that 3,000 metres, and it was only on the last 2 laps that he managed to pick up the pace, power through. It could have been that Chernov started to tire ever so slightly. A very, very solid performance from him, and gee, it's going to be a fantastic ride-off for the gold medal when these two riders face off again. They'll also meet in 3 other events during the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. They'll race against each other in the road race, the road time trial, and also the men's C123 1,000 metres time trial here at the velodrome. So these two will be very familiar with each other. Chernov still quite new to paracycling, showing what talent he has. And there we have it, the final standings. The top 4 going through to the next, well, the final round really. So the top 1 and 2, Liang and Chernov, competing for the gold medal.
And don't worry about the gold medal race. The bronze medal race is going to be really tight as well, with only 0.65 or thereabouts between Gelbis Bachera and Rolfe. So looking forward to that.
So we are moving on to the final qualification round for the first session on day 2 of the track cycling.
Belgium in the home straight, 5th in the road race at London 2012.
So this is the men's C3 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Again, we have 5 heats, and it's all about posting the top 4 times. The top 2 will ride off for gold, and 3 and 4 will ride off for the bronze medal in the second session on day 2.
So we see from Belgium, Chris Bosman, and from Korea, Jin Yong-sik.
So Chris Bosman's 36 years of age. 5th in the road race in London.
In this particular event, a top 10 finish, and also a top 15 finish in London in the time trial on the track. Also a winner of World Championships in the road race back 5 years ago, so that might be his cup of tea. 36-year-old from Belgium. Had a couple of hospital visits with some injuries and some other symptoms in 2014, so it hasn't been the easiest of rides coming into this competition. Jin Yong-sik from Korea, 38 years of age.
And he's a very experienced campaigner. He rode the cycling road time trial in Sydney back in 2000. As for this track cycling, he won a silver at the Paralympic Games in Beijing in 2008. He was 11th in the 3,000 metre individual pursuit in London and 17th in the 1,000 metres time trial. So that's Jin Yong-sik, 38 years of age. So the first heat to set the tone for this final event of the first session of day 2 of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
Very, very good on the road, but has turned his attention to the track.
So after 1,000 metres, nothing between them at all. Only about 0.2 of a second, and Jin from Korea just with a margin.
Busy schedule for these cyclists as well. They'll meet each other in 4 events: the road race, the road time trial, the individual pursuit, of course, which we have before us at the moment, and the men's C123 1,000 metres time trial, which is a track event as well. 4 days of track cycling at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, and the road cycling events are in week 2 of the Games.
So about to reach the 2,000 metre mark, so it's Bosman's in front of Jin, and we'll see what that margin is. It was Jin just leading by about 0.2 of a second at the 1,000 metre mark. Let's have a look here, and it's going to be Bosman's really turning it over Jin there, and it's now blown out to around about the 4-second mark. But remembering that it's not really a race as such, it's about qualifying and posting the best time.
And Bosman's will be looking to see whether he can chase Jin Yong-sik down here.
0.76, in fact, now starting to really drive to
Paralympic record is 3:35.257. That gives us a guide as well. But this has been strong here from Bosman's in the second part of his ride.
Conquistado em Aguascalientes, no México, em 11 de abril de 2014, e o recorde paralímpico é de Kenny Daring.
Plenty of encouragement from the Korean coach. Now the bell to sound, and it's evident that Jin's getting tired. Really finding it a struggle the last 500 metres. Bosman's could capture him. In fact, it might just about happen now on the top corner. So very late in the piece of this particular first heat. And Bosman's comes through in 3:48.308. 3:48.308. And here comes Jin to the line, 3:59.070.
So a strong ride there from Bosman's, 36-year-old. He's a handy road cyclist. He was 5th in the road race in London in 2012 and 10th in this event at the same games. So we'll see. We still have 8 cyclists to come across 4 heats, so we will see whether Bosman's time will be enough to put him in the medal right off in session 2.
É o paraciclismo aqui no velódromo mais rápido do mundo. Na pista, os paraciclistas, Jogos Paralímpicos Rio 2016.
You see there as he was pulling off to the side to ensure that Jin Yong-sik could complete his lap.
Essa é a classe C3.
Next up we have Michael Samets from Canada and Esnaida Munoz Marin from Colombia.
So the Colombian, 28 years of age, and again competing in 4 events across these games. He won a bronze medal at the Para-Pan American Games in the individual pursuit C1, 2, 3 category. That was in 2015 in Toronto. So Munoz and Michael Samets from Canada. Again competing in 4 events and second in this event in the time trial, rather in the World Championships in Toronto last year. So these 2 cyclists will know each other. They will have competed against each other multiple times at World Championship events.
Aí partiram os ciclistas na pista. Michael
Samets began paracycling at age 12 at the Calgary Cycling Club in Alberta, Canada. And he was attracted to cycling because it was different from the popular sports of ice hockey and football.
It's a real hockey nation, isn't it, Canada?
Certainly.
They absolutely love it. So, this stage, 8th in the World Championships this year in this particular event, Samets. And we have a field of 10 here at Rio 2016. So, we'll be hoping to improve on that. And he leads in this particular duel at the moment ahead of Munoz Marin. Not by a great deal, but it's only 500 metres down with the benchmark time from Bosmans from Belgium, 3:48.308. We'll get a guide shortly. The quickest time to date for the 1,000 metre mark, 1:18.386. And Samets well and truly on target to be quicker than that. And he's about to clock past the 1,000 metres in 1:16.048.
So a good 2 seconds quicker than Bosmans and Jin, who rode in the earlier heat, but only about a second quicker than Munoz Marin. So a reminder that the Paralympic record in this event is 3 minutes 35.257. That was set in London by Darren Kenny, who isn't competing in this event here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
So at halfway, so speed needed, but plenty of endurance as well in this 3,000 metre individual pursuit. Keeping his line pretty well is the Canadian.
33.076, but right now it is Samets of Canada who has the advantage over.
So Samets of Canada will shortly be able to give you an update at the 2,000 metre mark. So that's 2:27.327. So that is a strong time indeed, 6 seconds ahead of Bosman's earlier time, and about 6 seconds ahead of his opponent, Munoz Marin. So he will be looking to chase him down here.
This is a very, very good ride indeed. He is very much quicker than the time of Bosman's by almost 6 seconds now quicker. Munoz is just in front of him, so Samets is closing.
So Samets is closing in here. Munoz Manet's just in front of him, and let's see if he's able to do it. It's tricky going around the bend. He's going to have to take over extra ground.
You possibly can. Let's encourage both these
Which will affect his time just a little, but Samets is captured and continues, and Munoz Marin will continue to cycle and post a time, post a qualifying time, final lap here for the Canadian.
So this will be the quickest to date, with 4 riders on the velodrome so far for this men's C3 classification in the 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Down to the line for Semets, and it's 3:38.459. 3:38.459, the fastest to date. And about to clock over the line, Munoz Marin for the 3,000 metres, 3:50.319, and that will put him in 3rd of the 4 riders to date. But a respectable time for Michael Semets of 3:38.459, and that could be enough to ensure a top 8 finish, which you'll be hoping to do after finishing in that position in the World Championships in this event this year.
So still about 3 seconds outside the Paralympic record, so within range there. Still to come, 6 cyclists across 3 heats. A very strong performance there from the Canadian Semets. The 20-year-old, have to think he has a very bright future in paracycling. We've seen many of the athletes well into their 30s posting quick times throughout the session on day 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome heat number 3 to the track as we welcome in the back straight from Belgium, Diederik Schelfout.
Diederik Schelfout from Belgium, and Eduardo Santos Asensio from Spain. Asensio 27 years of age and 30 years of age Schelfout. So not a great deal between them here. Interesting duel. Schelfout in the 3,000 metre individual pursuit, 4th in World Championship competition 3 years ago, and 6th in it last year, 7th this year. It's been a tough year for Schelfout. He broke his collarbone competing at the World Championships, so it has been a difficult time.
Girando na pista aqui no Velódromo Olímpico do Rio de Janeiro. São Jogos Paralímpicos Rio 2016. Os paraciclistas na pista agora da classe C3 na prova de perseguição individual masculino.
He's also continuing his study at the moment, combining that with his career as an athlete at the age of 27.
In Tarazona in Spain. He's a rider who has completed many World Championships and has performed incredibly well. He won the bronze medal this year
on the track. Santos Asensio in the 3,000 metre individual pursuit finished 5th at the World Championships this year. The World Championships giving us the seedings as to what particular qualifying heats these riders are in.
And currently Santos Asensio is the quickest rider so far, and especially at the 1,000 metre mark, he's posted 1:15, so a good second quicker than Schelfout at the moment, and a second quicker than Semets, who posted that strong performance in the first heat of the day. Sorry, the second heat of the day, rather.
Yes, so Schelfout just narrowly slower than Semets at the 1,000 metre mark, but looking to ramp it up here. Now sitting as the 3rd best at the halfway mark. Santos Asensio 1:50.639. So continuing with his good form and also keeping quite contained here. Schelfout keeping the consistency. A little bit wayward there heading into that next corner, but also is quite strong and it's the 3rd fastest, so continuing with that consistency as well. So Santos Asensio 2nd quickest in the group, Schelfout the 3rd quickest, At this point in time, it looks as though it is Semets who's just holding the lead at the 2,000 metre mark from Canada.
Yes, so a narrow lead to Semets, but we have seen some of these cyclists seem to have an enormous kick on them for the last couple of laps of the 3,000 metre distance, and let's have a look now to see whether, so Shelford's sitting in 5th position. That won't be a medal ride at this stage, and Santos and Asensio still in 2nd with another 2 laps to go.
So Santos Asensio looking to challenge the time of Semets of 3:38.459. Canada watching closely here as the Spaniard is looking to really rattle the cage of that time of 3:38.459. Doesn't look as though a capture's on the cards here. Shelfu holding strong.
Asensio putting in that final effort for the final lap, and he's looking good, I've got to say. He might just pip him at the post there.
It was a real thrust from him, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Still 2nd position, so
it's a time of 3:45.398.
So the time 3:45.398, that is the 2nd quickest. And the time of Shelford 3:55.645. His compatriot Bosmans from Belgium holds 3rd place at the moment. But what we've got out of that particular heat is Eduardo Santos Asensio has put himself into some sort of shape now, into 2nd place with still 4 riders to come.
So a nervous wait now to see whether Santos Asensio will be able to hold on to a top 4 position in order to ride off for the medals. 2nd position at the moment. Semets, the quickest rider in this session so far.
So the next heat 4, these are the standings so far. Michael Semets leads ahead of Eduardo Santos Asensio. Bosmans, you would think, will struggle to get into one of the medal races, with the first 2 going through to the gold medal race, 3rd and 4th going for bronze, with still 4 riders to come. And as they've seeded their World Championship times improve as we head down the list.
Welcome a rider who's been a multiple medalist in the World
Now
Championships.
next is David Nicholas from Australia and Owen Clifford from Ireland, 24 years of age. David, and Owen 36 years of age, the man on screen. Clifford competing in 3 events here, resides in Galway, and on the track was the bronze medalist in this event at the World Championships last year.
David Nicholas, the 24-year-old from Rockhampton in Queensland, Australia. Very strong road cyclist. Gold medalist in London 2012. 4th in this event. So a clean start for both of those cyclists. So David Nicholas, 4th in this event in London 2012, and a silver and a bronze he picked up in the road riding in London 4 years ago. And Owen Clifford from Ireland was the world champion in 2015 for road cycling, so a very strong road cycling pedigree there. And in the track he won the world championships in the C1 to 3 scratch race, and was 3rd this year in Montechiari in Italy in this event, the individual pursuit, and last year as well. So bronze both times. Expect a strong performance from him here early, though it is the Australian who has the edge over the rest of the field.
So Nicholas leads Clifford, but it's under a second. It's about 0.7 of a second at the moment, and Clifford, you get the impression, is responding. Nicholas 56.69 after 750. Now the best time after 1,000 metres was from Santos Asensio from Spain, but the current leader, Semets from Canada's time at the 1,000 metres was 1:16.048. They both reached the 1,000 metres, and Nicholas was around the 1:13 mark, 1:13.484. So that's quick, and it's leading Clifford by over a second.
So David Nicholas, the quickest rider so far today. Can he maintain this over the duration of the race? We're not quite at the halfway mark, but David Nicholas still the quickest, and Owen Clifford in second position.
So his nickname is Diesel Dave, David Nicholas, and looking to put that to good use here. He missed the World Championships last year, but has competed at World Championship level in both road and track cycling. Clifford, 36 years of age, and a winner on the road in the time trial at World Championships, and also placed in this event this year. This particular individual pursuit over 3,000 metres in this classification. Heading towards the 2,000 metre mark, Nicholas has a lead over Clifford now. It's slowly but surely just increasing, and the quickest time to date is Semets of 2:27.327. Has the Australian been able to maintain the rage? Here we go at the 2,000 metres. It was 2:22.459, so that's 5 seconds quicker than anybody else.
Well, this is a strong performance here from the Australian. We only have one heat left. He's trying to ride himself into medal contention here, and at the moment it is looking good.
It looks as though the Irishman is riding himself into medal contention as well. It looks at this point as if the Irishman is in the box seat to race in the bronze medal race later.
Well, quite possibly. Owen Clifford has picked up the pace substantially in second position.
So 250 metres to go, one lap of the velodrome. So the fastest time to date for 3,000 metres, 3:38.459. That is the time to beat. Nicholas looking to give himself a chance of racing in the gold medal race. It'll definitely be the bronze medal race at this stage. Nicholas, a time of 3:32.336, Paralympic record.
Well, what a ride, averaging over 50 kilometres an hour to smash that Paralympic record by 3 seconds. What a performance here by the Australian Nicholas. And let's get a check on the time of Owen Clifford, because he was coming second. We want to know whether he's qualified second fastest at this stage with still one heat to go.
He's just missed second, 3:38.863, so that's third for Owen Clifford. So he will now sit in the clubhouse and just hope, because we've got two combinations still to come, remembering third and fourth quickest race for the bronze. But David Nicholas at this stage has consolidated his position and will definitely race for either a gold or a bronze.
So David Nicholas, a full 6 seconds quicker than the rest of the field, but we still have one heat to go. 2 cyclists remaining, and the question will be for Owen Clifford whether he gets bumped out of medal contention or whether he can maintain third position or just slip to fourth. We will see.
So from Japan, Masaki Fujita, the 31-year-old, plenty of road cycling experience, and on the track in this event. He was the runner-up in Beijing at the Paralympic Games in 2008, in London, finishing in the top 10 in 9th place.
And he's competing against Joseph Berenyi from the United States, the 47-year-old who has a full complement of events here at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. He'll be competing in 5 events and has a lot of experience. He won this event in London in 2012, the 3,000 metres C3 individual pursuit, and a bronze in the mixed team sprint.
So the time to beat is of David Nicholas of Australia, 3:32.336, and to assure a position in the bronze medal race, you have to be under 3:45 of Santos Asensio.
And you'd have to think that both of these cyclists with their pedigree would be well capable of that. And early on we can see that Joseph Berenyi from the United States has laid down the gauntlet. He's already in first position. Can he maintain and improve his time and really send a message to the rest of the field.
David Nicholas of Australia was the silver medalist in 2016.
So 38.646. So a slight lead for Berenia against Fujita here.
Fujita, of course, competed in Beijing back in 2008 and won a silver in the 1,000 metres time trial. A different event to this in that it is an all-out sprint. This is a speed endurance event. He was third, or got the bronze, in London in the time trial C3 category. And a handy road race competitor as well, and both of these athletes will be competing in the road race events.
Well, I can tell you at this rate, after 1,000 metres, both of these men will fight out the gold medal race, because Berenia has clocked 1:10.439 over 1,000. That's 3 seconds quicker than Nicholas. And then Fujita from Japan, 1:13.380, is just narrowly quicker than Nicholas. So this is going to be a real battle as to what race Fujita will contest. It looks as though Berenia is sailing into overall lead in the classification.
Yes, so at the halfway mark, Berenia, very strong performance. Fujita just slipped back in the field a little. He was second ranked after the 1,500 metre mark, but he's now dropped back to third. We'll see what kick he has in the latter stages of this race. We're coming up to the 2,000 metre mark, and we'll bring you a check-in then to see how both cyclists are tracking compared with the rest of the field.
Well, this is a real key for Fujita. What race is Fujita going to contest? We know Berenia is more than likely going to fight it out for gold after 2,000 metres. Berenia's time 2:20.708. So that is about a second and a half even more quicker than Nicholas. So Berenia still holding his form. Fujita's time of 2:24.805 is not bad. It will be, at this point, second fastest over 2,000 metres, but will it be over 3,000 metres? In fact, it's now third fastest.
So Berenia continuing to perform strongly, but slipping back into second position.
So both of these riders are getting tired. This is very interesting indeed. They have to really lift now the final 250 metres, a grueling final lap. So much to play for. The time of Nicholas, 3:32.336. Which race are they going to compete in? 3:38 from Clifford and Semets is also a benchmark. Let's have a look here for the finish for Berenia. It's 3:34.394. He's going to be in the gold medal race. He's the second quickest, and Fujita, 3:39.142 is the fifth quickest, so he's missed a spot by a second. In fact, not even that. He's missed a spot by 0.3 of a second to race for bronze. So there you have it. It'll be Australia versus the USA in the gold medal race, and it'll be Canada versus Ireland in the bronze medal race.
Well, Masaki Fujita had such a strong start in that 3,000 metre individual pursuit, and unfortunately just didn't have the endurance to continue that incredible start that he had. He was in second position overall, and has unfortunately for the Japanese athlete slipped back to fifth, but Joseph Berenia leading, well, he was on top of the leaderboard for the bulk of that race, slipping back to second position, but it will be a very tight final in the second session on day two indeed. About 2 seconds between Nicholas, who was the fastest qualifier from Australia, and Berenia. So 3:32.336 for Nicholas and 3:34.394 for Berenia. Berenia now guaranteed a medal, gold or silver. Which one will it be? And Semets and Clifford to race it off for the bronze.
Look at the times between Semets and Clifford. There's nothing in it, so it's going to be a tough race, the bronze medal contest, and Nicholas and Berenia. Nicholas will go in as the favourite in the gold medal race in the men's 3,000 metre individual pursuit.
So the athletes really just have a few hours to try and relax, rehydrate, have something to eat and recover before they need to back up in session 2 of day 2 to race off for those medals. And I think we're going to see a very, very tight session indeed. It'll be very interesting to see.
The crowd have been terrific during the second day of the track program, and we've had so much to enjoy. Starting off with the women's B1000 metre time trial and Sophie Thornhill's brilliant performance to win the gold medal for Great Britain, their 4th from the cycling track program. And we're looking forward to some exciting finals in the individual pursuits.
So session 1 of day 2 of the track cycling competition at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games saw yet another gold medal go to Great Britain, their 4th gold medal of the track cycling competition already. And they're well on their way to surpassing their total of 5 medals from the London 2012 Paralympic Games. An impressive performance here and shaping up to be an excellent second session on day 2 of these games for the track cycling. We have another 4 gold medals on offer in session 2. But for now, that is session 1, qualifications over and done with, and another gold medal awarded to Great Britain.